Let's try it again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the World Online Racing YouTube channel. My mic wasn't working with my OBS for a second there. I do apologise, but welcome back to Season 15 of this PC Tier 1 season. Tonight we head to uncharted territories. It is the Las Vegas Strip Circuit in the beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be a fantastic race this evening. A new circuit should make for some new challenges. We've got a cracking grid for you this evening. My name is Dan Field, and tonight I'm being joined once again by Nathan Richards. Nathan, how are you doing this evening?
Great. It's always nice to be at a new circuit, so I'm quite excited to see what this race brings. Obviously, Las Vegas hasn't had the most optimistic debut at all from many. A lot of people say it's going to be bad, this, that, the other, but obviously we'll see what happens because esports is a lot different to IRL, so maybe we'll get a bit more action here from the esports drivers. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one. Obviously, a lot of unknown for the drivers as well as their engineers and strategists, so we could see a lot of bold strategies going into this race. So yeah, that's something I'm also quite excited for.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a fun one tonight, and the stakes are a lot lower than last time out because, of course, in Miami, Jan Ortmeier wrapped up the championship. Do apologise for the graphic being a little bit inaccurate to his actual points total and win tally as well. But yeah, Jan Ortmeier, Season 15 champion. He's the first ever PC second. I always get it wrong. He's the first ever two-time PC Tier 1 champion. I got my words out eventually. But yeah, Nicholas Longe, I read that in the chat. Jan Ortmeier is your champion coming into this one. There is still a fight, though, for P2 in the standings. And do apologise, everyone. You know what? I'm an absolute mess this evening. As you can see, standings are on your screen. You can see that Jan Ortmeier, 219 points compared to Lucas Blakely's 139. He is uncatchable at this point. Lucas is in second, just 8 points ahead of Nicholas Longe in third on 131. We've got confirmation he is joining for the race, but he won't be here during qualifying. Otis Lawrence is in fourth on 113 points, and Isfan Pookie, as a reserve driver, continues to impress on 81 points in fifth. Tomek Poranjic, I don't believe he's racing today, unfortunately, sits sixth on 55. Gives a good opportunity to Alvaro Caraton and Fabrizio Donoso, who've seemingly swapped teams on this graphic to overtake him potentially in the points. Danny Moreno in ninth on 47, just 7 points clear of Thomas Ronhar, who rounds out the top 10. So now, Nathan, with the confirmed champion being Jan Ortmeier for this season, it means everyone else going to take it maybe a little bit more chill this evening.
It could do, but then there might be some drivers that might be pushing more than ever because they know they've got nothing to lose. So we'll see what happens to that. Obviously, qualifying going to be quite interesting as well because I believe many of them will be starting at the back of the grid. I know Brendan put a post on Twitter earlier about saying he's going to start at the back just so he can learn a bit more and kind of test the track, obviously, in a race condition. So yeah, there'll be a lot of testing for drivers. That's what we might see. Some strategies that might not work at all because you've got to test them out first to see if they do or don't work. But we're about to head in. We've got about 10 seconds till the lobby is started. Obviously, full qualifying. I believe we'll only do qualifying 2 and 3 mainly. And so, yeah, 25 laps, which is going to be quite interesting around the track that is mainly built of straights.
Yeah, it is a very interesting circuit. It should be a lot of fun, a lot of recognisable features along the Las Vegas Strip. Of course, that big stretch between, I believe, turns 11 and turn 12, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it should be a fun one this evening. Drivers do say it is a bit RNG. Fingers crossed no one gets bitten this evening today. But yeah, we'll head into it very soon. I'll read out the grid. It's got all the teams listed, but it doesn't actually matter because we're racing in the F1 World Car. But in the Red Bull this evening, it's Freddie Rasmussen and Joni Tormala. Ferrari is Nicholas Longe and Louis Welch. Then we've got in the Mercedes, the familiar sight of Jake Benham and Jarno Ortmeier, both of them being WOR PC champions. Alpine is Philip Presneder and Ruben Pedreño. McLaren is Declan Barrett and Dylan Warren. Then Alfa Romeo is Thomas Ronhar and Brendan Lee, who I believe makes definitely his Season 15 debut, but I'm pretty sure it might be his first ever World Online Racing Grand Prix this evening. Should be very excited to see how he does from the back of the grid. Aston Martin is Jed Norgrove and Rishan Jacobs. Then Haas is Alfie and Jack West, of course, a winner of the Spanish Grand Prix, making his return this evening. Then in the Alpha Tauri is Ishmael Fassi and Tom Manley. And rounding out the grid is Alvaro Caraton and Shanika Clay. As you can hear by the sounds in your ear, we've got the lobby going on. We are watching. We transition over. Cars going the wrong way. Thomas Ronhart Jack West, Alfie Butcher, they're all disqualifying themselves from the session. And Nathan, I think we're going to have a pretty swift end to Q1.
Yeah, definitely. A bit like what we saw last week in Miami, but I think with everyone DSQing instead, it might make it a bit of an easier process. We've got people in inters, we've got people stopping on track. Yeah, it's just so people know this isn't what we normally expect. But I've got to say, if you look at Freddie's car, it's quite a sight. It's brown, green, and pink.
He might have done his best job to make up possibly one of the ugliest colour combinations as Jan Otmir gets himself disqualified. He made a poll on Twitter earlier on, as brought to my attention by Nathan, asking if he should qualify or race and or stay at the back. And it said, the poll actually said he was going to going to qualify. But he's gone against it, and he's decided to disqualify himself from the session. So already we have 4 drivers confirmed to be out of this session. Alfie Butcher might actually get the bump up into Q2 due to the fact that he retired, because Nathan and I expect a few more drivers to get themselves knocked out of this session.
Yeah, I think a few people might also be just doing a bit of a test lap, just to test their equipment before we head into Q2, because there's a few people not really trying to, they're just doing a bit of a slow lap around the circuit. I can see Yoni and Freddie having a little bit of a battle down in towards the final corner. I wouldn't want to know how quick he's going, because that is a very quick section. I believe that is down the Las Vegas Boulevard, otherwise known as the Las Vegas Strip. And then they come through the final straight, which is, what was it, Dan? Was it Summit Avenue, the final straight?
Harmon Avenue, it was, this one.
Yeah, because we was having a little look earlier at the different corners, and well, the one chicane's got about 4 different names, because every part of the chicane's got its own part. It's got its own name, so we're not going to be calling that chicane out at all.
No, it's very confusing with the amount of names, because I don't actually think any of them are corner names. I think it's just sort of landmarks of Las Vegas. But yeah, we can head down this little road and in towards this next corner. I don't actually know all the corner names either, but it's a very tricky circuit, of course, very close to the wall, so I'd expect a lot of drivers, if they make a mistake, they'll be getting a bit of damage, as Freddie Rasmussen were riding on board with him in his very horrible looking car, and he's drifting his way through the first sector now. He's done that quite nicely, but yeah, everyone just moving about. We'll see if anyone else wants to retire, and then Nathan, hopefully we can get into the next session. Yeah,
I've got the map on the bottom right, and I still can't fathom how it's looking up. I mean, I still can't. What's the word? I don't know what the word is, but it just looks like an upside down pig. Have you noticed that?
No, I haven't. But
you not see it?
I do see it. I'm looking at the track map on my other monitor. Sorry, everyone. I'm just bringing up the actual track map so I can read out the names of all the corners and whatever. But even that being said, it is still really blurry. So yeah, I'm having a tough time at the minute here. But I guess.
Ruben's drifting about.
Oh. I can't even find him. Oh, it's going to be a pain to find all of the different cars and whatnot. You'll see Ruben Pedronian, see what his liveries are looking like. We saw multiple drivers in the lobby with a brown car, but Ruben's got his nice sleek black look with then, what is that, a red sort of finish over there. Oh, it's the Las Vegas livery.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing in the game. I'd imagine a few other drivers are possibly using that. Let's have a look at Ismail Fassi. No, he's using the McLaren. Is that the McLaren Golf livery, or is that the Williams one?
Williams.
I get mixed up. I'm being completely honest. That's the Williams one. Yeah, I can see it now. Ismail Fassi using the Williams livery there. And yeah, it's a very nice touch that he's got on that car. It's nice to see all the different colours. Sad to see that Duncan Hoffman's not on the grid, Nathan, because I mean, he's got my favourite livery of all the bright pink car.
Yeah, the one thing is it's always easier to spot it on the track, so it makes it an easier job for us, and it does look nice, to be fair. But Jake's livery, I like that as well. Quite clean, pink and black. What was that?
I'm watching Brendan Lee. He's on the wet tyres out on circuit at the minute. He's got a very nice looking livery. Someone's just come across the line. I'm not too sure. I think it was Louis Welch going into third position as Brendan Lee is about to begin his lap now. It's a very interesting start-finish straight because the grid weaves around the corner as Brendan Lee just backs out of the way. He's not trying to step on anyone's toes, but have a look at the two-time F1 Esports champion drifting his way through the first few corners. This is the Harbour Island Apartments down the Rochelle Avenue intersection, then into Koval Lane. Nathan, you can tell that I've got my track map up as, wow, Brendan Lee, and he's throwing it all over the place.
Yeah, he's done a great job at drifting it as well, and I do love that livery. I'm surprised he's not using the Alfa Romeo one, but no, he's using very nice gold and black livery. He's heading down in towards, I think this is Caesars Forum, and then, what is it, Westchester Drive, lots of different corner names, lots of different, not maybe their buildings around the Las Vegas city. Then you come down to this first chicane, which I absolutely hate. I've drove this track a few times on like urban lobbies,
That was awful.
and I always go straight on that chicane. I can never get it right, or I take too much speed in and hit the wall.
Oh, it is terrible. I mean, I'm not that fond of this circuit, unfortunately, as old Brendan Lee's got his drift a little bit wrong. He's been naughty there, reset to track as well. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of driving around this circuit. I've only done it once or twice, and I definitely think that these drivers are going to be able to make a much nicer treat of it. As who's that that's just gone by? Dylan Warren. How about that for a flashy car? It's in true American spirit. He's got the red, white, and blue all over as he heads down now in towards the Las Vegas Strip. This is where we're going to see some of the most iconic landmarks. It's so beautiful to see this gleaming underneath the night sky. It's going to breeze by Caesar's Palace and down through the Bellagio Fountains and Paris and up towards Cosmopolitan. You see, I believe that's Hollywood World or something, Planet Hollywood, something like that. That big Vegas sign that you saw there. But one thing, Nathan, I mean, the track layout maybe not the best, but you got to admit this is probably the most beautiful circuit on the grid.
Yeah, it's a really nice looking circuit, especially when you ride on board with different drivers. It's just, you get a little bit overwhelmed sometimes by the Qatar Airway responsible, which are everywhere over the track. Yeah, apart from that, it's a really nice track. Just look at some of the buildings, because I think a lot of them as well are very accurate to where they are IRL. It's been very well made, the track as itself. I've heard the surface of it is quite a bit like Qatar. It's not laser scanning, but it's a little bit similar in the sense they measure the bumps or something on the road. It's just not as accurate as it would be in iRacing, but still, you've got a little more of a realistic surface around here, and I think Qatar on one of the track, I couldn't remember which one it was. But yeah, it's a really nice circuit. It's not very nice to drive. It doesn't look like it's very nice to drive, but maybe racing will be a little bit different, and hopefully we can see some great overtakes in towards like the chicanes and along that Las Vegas Strip. And then also then Harmon Avenue in towards Turn 1. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, I think, with nearly everyone retiring. Brendan Lee's back out on the circuit. Ruben's on the circuit. He's doing 354 kilometres an hour in towards Turn 14. That is very quick.
That's is one fast car that he has got underneath him. I'm watching Philip Fresneder's just started a lap at the minute. He's got the most Alpine car of them all. He's got the BWT sponsorship plastered all over him. Of course, that does make sense. He is filling in for Luke Smith this evening. Of course, Luke Smith, he finished P3 last time out in Miami. I was excited to see him here in Las Vegas because I'm pretty sure he was quite happy with this circuit. I think we asked him in the interview and he said he was maybe looking forward to driving around here. Very unfortunate that we're not going to be able to see him this evening, but I'm sure that Philip Fresneder, who's been full of surprises this season, can serve us up a treat as we're watching Joni Tormela, I believe this is, Yompa. His name is on Steam at the moment, as now Brendan Lee gets himself disqualified. Alfie Butcher will find himself into the next session. Hopefully everyone gets that as a nod to retire from the session so we can get into Q2. But we've only got a few drivers out on circuit. Joni Tormela, Dylan Warren, Tom Manley, Philip Fresneder and Freddie Rasmussen on a set of the soft compound of tyre, Nathan. Very interesting choice from him there.
So that makes me feel like he doesn't want to do the whole qualifying session because he just wasted a set of tyres. But the weird thing is there must be a bit of a steam bug because for me it says Joni Tormela.
Oh. No,
which is weird.
It says Yompa for me.
Yeah, I just looked on the screen, Yompa. Yeah, it's well, mine still says Ididots though.
I've got Ididot as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd name, but it's Freddie Rasmussen. He's been known as many things. I believe one of the times was it just Fred for about 5 races in a row.
Fred a long time, yeah. He doesn't like to have his full name, and I quite like that because sometimes it can get a bit boring with all these drivers just using their real name, and I don't have my real name on Steam. I've got something else, but just Danfield, such a boring name, you know. I don't want to have that as my Steam ID. So you know what? Fair play to Freddie Rasmussen and Joni Tormula for spicing it up a little bit. But Freddie is coming out on circuit, and I suppose, Nathan, this isn't really wasting a set of the tyres because Q1 really doesn't matter at this point. So it would have been helpful for him to have another set in the next session, but I guess if he doesn't really need it, then he doesn't really need it.
Yeah, well, he doesn't seem to bother, does he? He's enjoying himself on his soft tyres, and I still think, well, that car, I don't know what it reminds me of now. It reminds me of something. I can't remember. It'll come to me, but that colour theme reminds me of something. It'll come to me soon. I don't know what, but yeah, it reminds me. Yoni, I do like his livery though. It's a very nice. I like the brown, to be fair. It looks. I think is it matte? I think it might be a matte finish on his car, which is why it looks really nice. It reminds me of that one in Formula 2. Do you know which one it is? The PHM one, I think it is.
Can't say I have. I've not paid attention really to any Formula 2, Formula 3, any of the feeder series this season. I've not even really paid much attention to Formula 1, if I'm being completely honest. All my focus really has been on the F1 Esports scene. I'm very excited for F1 Esports to get underway very soon. Of course, coming to the end of both WOR and the PSGL seasons, F1 Esports is on the horizon, and I think maybe if they go to Las Vegas at some point, I'm not too sure what the calendar really would be, but if Las Vegas was an option, maybe tonight could be telling of who has the grip to this track and who tends to struggle. As now we're watching Joni Tormula. I think I'll go back to Freddie Rasmussen because he is pushing on this lap as he's heading through Westchester Drive and in towards the second sector. It gets the end of the first sector, sorry. It gets very technical through here. A horrible chicane, then it looped back over itself. Then you got to take it slow through turn number 9 on the power as early as possible, because then you're almost completely flat out in towards turn number 12. Of course, the first few corners before the Las Vegas strip. Now flat through here, then he'll brake ever so slightly, use all the circuit possible, and really kiss that inside. Then be careful not to hit the wall on the exit. Nathan, I think that could maybe claim some victims this evening, especially if there's some battling through there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think also this next corner, which Freddie's going towards as well, turn 14. But part of me is also thinking, is Freddie on these soft tyres because he hasn't done much practice of the track? Because most tracks, just say you said, oh, I didn't do much practice on like Silverstone. Well, that's a track you've played on many of the games and on the previous ones. Whereas this is completely brand new. So I think some drivers, Freddie could be at the moment, have had literally no practice or very minimal. So using this as a bit of a test session on the soft tyres, and he goes to the line and it will be a 30.771. Now I don't know if that's quick, but we'll say it's not for now. I have no clue. We'll find out in Q2 and Q3 what times are quick, as Tom Manley's been overtaken by Dylan Warren, Joni Tormula into turn 14. This is another corner which I think many people will lock up into and could end up hitting the wall, or at least just brushing the wall on the exit, because it's it is like, even though the circuit's wide, the corners you've got to go right up to the edge of the wall, haven't you? Which obviously some people could end up brushing it, and sometimes a little bit too much, and it can end in a bit of tears.
Yeah, as now Tom Manley's left the session as he was just about to come across the line. I'm not too sure what's gone on for him there. He's still got 4 minutes, 20 seconds left in this Q1 session. Hopefully, all the drivers out on circuit decide to come into the pit soon. I guess, you know, they're well within their rights to use all the time available to them to just get some laps done around this circuit, get a feel for the track. Maybe if they've not practiced it too much, or they just want to learn as much as possible, it does make sense for them to strap on a set of the hards that they're not going to use in qualifying, and then just, you know, gather as much data as possible. Still questionable as to why Freddie Rasmussen has come out on circuit on a set of the softs. He's essentially wasted a set, so if he gets himself into Q3, he might struggle when it's crunch time. Dylan Warren is back into the pit lane, so I think we might just be waiting on the 2 Red Bull representatives to retire at some point. Then we can get into Q2 sharpishly. The 4 eliminated drivers from this session are Jack West, Jan Ortmeier, Brendan Lee and Thomas Ronhar. Of course, Nicholas Longuet will be the last driver to join us on the grid, and he's going to join us for the race. So not taking part in qualifying, he'll be starting from last. And I think a field of Jack West, Jan Ortmeier, Brendan Lee, Thomas Ronhar and Nicholas Longuet being eliminated, that's quite stacked up there.
It is, yeah. It is quite a stacked up bottom 5, so that'd be quite interesting to see what they can do. And I didn't notice either that Joni Tormula's on the hard tyre. I didn't notice that. He's been in the pits and been out, and originally he was on the intervals, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, pretty sure. He's just continue along. He's doing as many laps as he wants. Freddie Rasmussen as well is still out on circuit. He's not improving on his time or anything. He's not using any of the battery either. So these guys, they're just having a good time, you know, getting the feels of the circuit. Dylan Warren has come back out onto the circuit on the same set of tyres. So he's just gone into the pits to refuel so he can get more of a feel for the circuit.
Yeah, well, I was DMing Dylan Warren earlier, and all I'm going to say is he's had no practice at all. I think there was one corner he said he didn't know where the braking zone was. So this could be quite interesting. Freddie apparently also has had no practice, so it could get quite eventful when it comes to people trying to brake later than others into corners. And I feel like we'll see a few lockups and possibly a few people going a little bit too deep into the chicanes and the 90-degree corners. But I think, yeah, at least the track's visually nice to see. And I'm looking at the Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm not sure what that is. I presume it's maybe some sort of theatre building, maybe, or a hotel.
I don't know. It's blurred out on my screen. There's the Wim Hotel, the Fashion something mall. I don't know. I can't read any of it because I've enlarged the image to the point where I can't actually read anything that's on it. So I'm struggling a little bit to get to grips with this circuit. I do know a few things though as he's coming towards turn number 14, 15 and 16. This is where it might get a little bit dangerous later on this evening. It's a quick series of lefts and it's 2 lefts and 1 right. It's Dylan Warren really throwing the car off the exit of that corner. Freddie Rasmussen has come across the line. He's improved on his lap as now we're coming up towards the end of this session. We've been here, Nathan, about 16 minutes. 16, 17 minutes at this point. I just want to get into Q2 and see some proper laps now.
Yeah, well, Luke said in the chat originally, yeah, we'll have them disqualify and then we'll go straight into Q2. Well, that has been a very interesting straight into Q2 because we've been here for 17 minutes and we've still got a minute to go and we've still got 3 of them out on track. Tom Manley, unfortunately, I don't think has got back into the session yet, so hopefully he can sort that issue out, unless he did join back. We've got Dylan, Yoni and Freddie getting a lot of practice in, so yeah, they could be on a little bit of a the lower hand coming into the race and the end of Q2 and Q3. But I think nevertheless, because of how new this track is and how unknown it is, I think we'll see quite a few surprising names into Q3 and quite a few surprising names that, well, who will take part in qualifying out in Q2. It gives an opportunity to the likes of Richard Jacobs, who I think is making his first race here. Louis Welch, is he racing this T? I don't think he has he, this season?
I'm not too sure. I mean, Louis Welch is widely regarded as one of the quickest drivers on the pad. I think he is actually widely considered to be the best pad driver of all time in the F1 Esports scene. He's still kicking it at the top grids in WOR and PSGL still now today as the clock has struck 0. Everyone is coming up towards the line. Freddie Rasmussen and Joni Tormala, I thought they were going to go right to the line, racing between each other, but Freddie decides to come into the pit lane. Joni Tormala is going to win. Can we call this the sprint race or something? Maybe. I mean, Joni Tormala has won that, whatever. Dylan Warren is coming to the line. There we are. Session is over. As yeah, you're actually absolutely right, Nathan, that this is a great opportunity for some drivers that we typically wouldn't see getting themselves into Q2 to be able to fight for a potential Q3 slot. As now you can see, the classification is on your screen. None of this really matters. We saw no real qualifying attempts, but the eliminated drivers were Jack West, Jarno Opmeer, Brendan Lee, Thomas Ronhart and Nicholas Longe, who is not racing here this evening. I mean, what about that for a bottom 5 being eliminated? I'll bring us back to the intermission scene, Nathan. We could digest that qualifying session. Not too much really going on there.
Oh, hang on. There we go. I got confused on your stream up on my phone. Yeah, there's, well, not much to take away from that at all, apart from the fact that it seems like Freddie, Yoni and Dylan wanted a little bit of extra practice before they get into the qualifying and the race. We're about to load into qualifying 2 very shortly, and, well, we've got 15 drivers in. Many of them, well, many of the quick ones, such as Jarno and Brendan and Thomas, out in Q1. And Alfie's retired automatically, so he doesn't want to take any further part. So we've only got 4 drivers leaving in Q2 at the moment.
That's okay. I mean, we're still going to have a fight for that potential top 10 spot. We will join you trackside here at the Las Vegas Strip Circuit after a quick word from our sponsors at Next Level Racing. Welcome back, everyone. Trackside here at the Las Vegas Strip Circuit as Q2 gets underway. We've got a few drivers out on circuit. Joni Tormala is the first man out. However, there's two Williams drivers venturing onto the track. Shanaka Clay and Alvaro Carreton, very proven drivers in both the WOR scene and the F1 Esports scene. But Nathan, they've really struggled to really make things work this season. And hopefully Las Vegas can be a bit of a turning point for them ahead of the real-life F1 Esports series.
Yeah, maybe the multiplayer cars that could definitely help them try and put a spring into their step. But I've noticed Joni Tormala's on the mediums, Dylan Warren is back onto the hard tyres, and Tom Manley's on a set of intermediates. So, yeah, Joni and Dylan are definitely using this as a practice session. So Joni last time used the inters, the hards, and now in Q2 is going to go to a set of medium tyres to see what they can do around this circuit. We'll see what Tommy can do. I don't think it'll be anywhere near what people in the actual soft tyres will do. I think pretty much half, just over 2/3 of the grid are out now. Most of them being on softs, apart from a couple of them on the mediums and hards, as we mentioned. And I don't know who the first one on the softs might be.
It's going to be Shaka.
I think Shanaka Clay. Well, he's heading down in towards one of the straights, and shortly down towards turn 1. And hopefully he can get himself a decent banker. Yeah,
he's down in turn number 14 at the minute, just coming on towards Harmon Avenue now, and he'll get his foot flat to the floor. It's a short straight until the final corner, which is right before the start-finish line, as we're right on board with the Williams driver, heading in towards now to begin his lap. Heavy braking zone through turn at number 1, this hairpin-like corner that really does open up on you. Then you have to keep your foot down in towards this next part of the lap, in towards the Rochelle Avenue intersection. Foot flat to the floor off the exit and down through the Koval lane, one of the first DRS zones that the drivers are going to get to utilise, as now Joni Tormala gets himself a 5-place grid penalty. That's a collision with Ismail Fassi. Normally it's for blocking, but Joni Tormala's had some contact there with Ismail Fassi. Hopefully that can get resolved, as now in towards the end of this first sector, this horrible chicane down at the MSG Sphere, turns number 7, 8 and now 9 for Shanaka Clay. He really is revving out the car as he heads through this part of the lap, sliding his way through turn number 9. He did, now on towards Sands Avenue. It's a bit of a twisty straight there, now in towards this next part of the lap. Nathan, it is very difficult to get all these names right. He bumps over the curve and on towards the Las Vegas Strip. He's doing quite nicely on this lap so far.
He is, yeah. I think this part, particularly from now until the end, is probably the easiest bit, because it's literally one long straight, then we've got a bit of a chicane at the end. So he's coming down in towards turn 14. He'll hit about 354 kilometers an hour into the braking zone, brake at just the 100 meter, throw the car into the inside. Obviously, the RNG can cause issues with the curves, but luckily for Shanaka, it seems like he went over them quite fine. Dylan Warren sets the first lap at 36.2. I'm sure Shanaka should beat that by about 3 or 4 seconds. Comes to the line, what will Shanaka Clay do? It will be a 30.555. Now, to me, that means that Freddie's lap wasn't that far off. No. He did a 30.7.
Yeah, now Alvaro Carreton comes across the line, does a 1 minute 30.338. Jake Benham, our season 11 champion, has come across the line, done almost an identical time to what Freddie Rasmussen did earlier. As now Rishan Jacobs comes to the line, it's only a 31.2 for the young driver, so it's not looking all that good for Rishan Jacobs in this session. Let's see who's coming up next towards the line. I believe it is going to be Ismail Fassi. Had a collision with Joni Tormala at some point. I'm not too sure what happened there, but maybe Joni does have a 5-place grid penalty now from it. I'm not too sure. We might get that reset and have him corrected to be in his exact position. Here comes Ismail Fassi then up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 30.598, just 400 slower than what Shanaka Clay has done. Decent time there from the Spaniard, but it's his fellow countryman Alvaro Carreton remaining untouched at the top of the order.
Yeah, it's a very nice lap there from Alvaro. Only 2/10 ahead of Shanaka. Yeah, it's a very nice lap. There's 4/10 separating the top 4, and then it goes even more, 12 for a second. Declan Barrett now coming through to learn what can he do. It will be a 30.7, puts himself into the top 5. Very nice showing for Declan Barrett. Obviously, Miami qualified in the top 5 as well, but unfortunately had quite a few incidents on that first lap, so dropped down quite considerably. But still, a decent qualifier, and he's doing a good job so far in Q2. And I think at this rate, with how slow people are, a 30.7 will get you through. Because many people are still coming out straight. You've got Freddie, Philip, Joni, Jed, and Ruben. Dylan's still on his hard tyres. Joni's back out on the new set of mediums. Joni's going to have no tyres for the race at this point.
Yeah, Joni's using the whole array possible. He was on the hard tyres for the entirety of the first session. Now he's gone into 2 sets of mediums in Q2. So now we've got yellow flags throughout the entirety of this circuit. Hopefully we can see how much time we've actually got left, but we've only seen 8 laps so far. Now the rest of the drivers are coming out on circuit. Of course, Alfie Butcher, we know, is going to be eliminated from this session. I bet he actually wanted to get eliminated in Q1, but then with more drivers getting themselves DSQ'd in behind, and with Nicholas Longe not actually turning up to the first qualifying session, it's meant that Alfie Butcher has made his way into Q2 here, and hopefully he will be able to, well, yeah, no one else is going to be retiring at this point. I think now, Nathan, we're finally going to get a proper qualifying session underway. I'm trying to see who should we watch on their lap, and Philip Prejnader.
He's on a lap. Yep, he's going to be the first one on a lap. Yeah, he's going to be the first one starting a lap, though.
All right, okay, yeah, we can watch him then.
Because, yeah, most of them go back into pits, but for some reason, people are really out of sync in this quali. So there's like half of them are still coming down towards turn 14, and half of them have already completed their laps. So Philip's coming down into turn 14. Ahead of him is, I believe, Declan, and then Dylan's also down at turn 1. About 5 cars out, going out, and obviously drivers might not be taking this session too serious, but you can see Philip down. If they want to get through into Q3, they've still got to put a decent lap time in. Otherwise, they're going to be able to qualify because, yeah, they haven't set any lap time. So we'll see what these guys can do. Philip heading down into that first corner. Oh, bit weird on the gears there. Didn't shift down till 4 till he got into the corner. So it sees a few drivers still trying to learn the track a little bit and having a few teething problems. But I think, Dan, that's something that I think everyone should expect when we come to a new circuit like this, which people don't seem too excited about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that WOR might be the first taste of competitive league racing that these drivers have actually experienced around this circuit of the Las Vegas Strip circuit. We've never been here before. It's new to the F1 23 game, and it is a real question mark as to how it's actually going to perform in proper competitive racing situations. I'm not too sure if any PSGL, WOR, any of the major leagues have actually done any races around this circuit before, so it really is unknown. I've never commentated on it. I've driven it twice in open lobbies. I'm sure you've never commentated on it either, Nathan, so it should be a very interesting, very fun track to commentate on, and we'll see how it works out. As now Philip Prejnader is heading his way down the Las Vegas Strip and in towards turn number 14, a very tricky part of the lap, this chicane. It sends you left, drifts you back over right, and then puts you left again and on towards Harmon Avenue. Very careful on these curves. They are a little bit high, and actually Philip has gone over them a little bit too much there, invalidated his lap, unfortunately, and he's not going to be able to complete this one. We'll see what he can do as he comes up towards the line, see if it's going to be good enough to get himself into the next session. A 30.9, that would have put him P6 at the minute, just ahead of Rishan Jacobs, but still nowhere near what Alvaro Caraton is doing. See who else is on a lap at the minute. Freddie Rasmussen, I believe, invalidated his run. We have a few more drivers though, Nathan, on a lap. Plenty of invalidations.
Yeah, Pedreño there into the top 2. Very nice lap from him. Freddie invalidated his lap in the second set to Jed Norgrove. Coming to the line, what can he set? Will be P5 for him with a .688. I think there's still a couple more to come through. Tom Manley's coming through to the first few corners. Phillips coming, I believe, will be back into the pit lane because he's only got 30% of battery. And Freddie also. He's got a little bit deep there into the chicane. Freddie Rasmussen has, and seems it's not too favourable this circuit is for him, is it? He's making quite a few mistakes, which isn't normally likely for Freddie, so we won't be happy with that. And Dylan Warren still enjoying his time out on the hard tyres, doing a bit of a race simulation, it seems. He's been on those tyres for about 5 laps now, and he's, well, only 1 position outside of the Q3, so says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, Freddie Rasmussen at the minute struggling, I think, in WOR. He really just hasn't been on form like we've seen in the past in terms of the F1 Esports series. He's sort of always been the bridesmaid, never the bride though. He's never been champion, but he's always been there or thereabouts in terms of fighting for the race wins and fighting for the championship. But when it comes to WOR, especially this season, really hasn't made an impact in these races. He's not qualified all that well. He's not been fighting for the wins that we'd normally expect from him. I really do hope it can change tonight, ahead of the F1 Esports series as well, which is going to be starting very soon. We'll see if he is able to get a lap under his belt. It is still there's still time in this session, but at the minute he is being knocked out of qualifying, and actually his teammate, who's only done laps on a set of the mediums in this session, Joni Tormala, sitting in P10, could see himself into the next session.
Yeah, with a lap time that's 2.2 seconds off of the fastest time. I think definitely the top 5 or 6 are safe. Maybe Jake and Down. I mean, maybe Declan and Jake Down. They might need to go again, but I think if you're in the top 5, you should be relatively safe, especially the top 2. Because Alvaro and Ruben have done, well, what seems very quick times. We don't know if they're actually quick, or if it's just the fact they're the only ones that actually put a bit of practice in around this circuit. Also, we've got the likes of, I think, Brendan Lee, not Brendan Lee, sorry, Thomas Ronholm. I'm sure there's something on Twitter about him and Danny Beresne being like 3/10 ahead of the field on the TT in Las Vegas. So, yeah, maybe Thomas Ronholm can get himself from last to first. I said that last time, and he got a drive-through penalty at the start. So I'm not going to predict it, but I'll say, maybe it's possible for him.
His last 2 attempts really haven't gone well at all. He started last in USA, in Kota, and he got damage at turn number 1. Then he got a drive-through last time out in Miami. And I'm not too sure what really else can go wrong for Thomas Ronholm. Maybe someone else will get damage in front of him, then he'll pick up a puncture or something and have to pit early. But it really has not gone Thomas Ronholm's way in recent weeks, and it is a shame because I think he could have done a lot more in this championship. He wasn't really in the championship fight at all. He missed the first few rounds, and he hasn't been fighting at the front like we've seen in previous seasons. He is actually the defending champion from season 14, but I guess the hangover really did hit him coming into season 15. He sits 10th in the standings at the minute on 40 points, and I think definitely if he didn't sacrifice his USA and his Miami races, he could have potentially been in a higher spot in the championship, maybe fighting for P5 with Istvan Pukki, or maybe not that high up. I think Istvan's on like 85 points, but fighting in and around where Alvaro, where Fabrizio, where Danny is. But unfortunately, he sort of found himself mired down in P10. So Thomas Ronholm, I'm not too sure why he's doing these last to question mark challenges, because Nathan, they've just not gone well for him at all.
No, they haven't. I think he's done 3 of them, and every time he's not ended up in the points, or he's ended up in little points. But I think the thing is, at the start of the game, I just don't think he just doesn't seem that bothered. I think he's just taking a bit more of a relaxed approach, ready for esports, and yeah. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, it could be the fact he's also trying to hide something. Leave a few advantages ready for when the esports season starts. And obviously, now he's been looking quick, but he hasn't been looking as quick as he was before. Esports could come around, he could have something to do with the setup that could change, and he could gain a 10th or 2, and that could be all things that he's hiding. But so with many other drivers on the grid as well, which they're all going to have little bits that others don't know about. So yeah, that could also be a factor of why he's not performing too well. And also, I know he's been doing a lot of karting IRL recently, so that could also be why he's not really been putting too much practice in yet. But obviously, once the esports season starts, he might be a little bit more involved and get a bit more practice in. But Ismail Fassi, Dan, is about to begin, I think, his final lap of this session.
Yeah, Ismail Fassi currently sitting P4 at the minute on a 1 minute 30.598. We'll see what he can do as he heads down in towards the end of the first sector. Heavy braking zone through it here. We've seen Ismail Fassi involved in a few incidences so far this season, and actually he's one of 2 drivers that has won every single, he's won a race in every single season that he's competed in WOR. He won Abu Dhabi, I think, in season 13, and then he won Austria in season 14, both of them being the season finale. So actually, maybe not today we expect an Ismail Fassi win, but maybe next week he could be on top. However, he's looking good through the first sector, purple in through there, and he's up by 0.04 of a second as he manoeuvres his way on towards the Las Vegas strip, opening up that DRS and heading down in towards turn number 13 as the clock has struck 0. No new laps can be begun at this point. We saw Shanaka Clay come out on circuit, then return to the pits. Yoni Tormala decided not to come out on circuit whatsoever, as now Ismail Fassi continues his run down in towards turn number 14, reaching incredible speed through here, and I'd imagine that's going to be a lot greater when they're on the battery and in the slipstream of the car in front. Now in towards Harmon Avenue, we'll see what Ismail can do. I believe he already is going to be safe into the next session, but regardless, we'll see if he's able to improve. Indeed he will. 1 minute 30.262 for Ismail Fassi, safely going to secure himself in the next session. Who is up next towards the line? I believe it is Declan Barrett, up by 0.3 of a second, could see himself around where Shanaka Clay is, and if there's multiple drivers in behind finding improvements like this and getting themselves closer to where Shanaka is, it could be a bit of a dangerous situation for the Williams driver. Declan, though, comes to the line, able to improve, but he lost time in that final sector. We'll see Philip Presnay to come through the final sector. I think Jake Benham has invalidated just in front of him. A few more drivers improve. We could see our season 11 champion eliminated in Q2. Philip to the line with a 1 minute 30.480, 2 thousandths quicker than what Shanaka Clay has done. Rune Pedreño's invalidated on his lap. We'll see what Freddie Rasmussen can do. He's managed to keep this one valid, and he comes to the line with a 1 minute 30.388 and puts Louis Welch in that drop zone. Dylan Warren has invalidated on his run, so he will not be completing another lap in this session. Jed Norgrove, I believe, just came to the line and secured himself a little bit higher up the order in P8, but we're going to lose Louis Welch, Rishan Jacobs, Dylan Warren, Alfie Butcher, and one other driver that I missed, Yoni Tormler, of course, who only came out on the medium tyres. Dylan Warren wasn't able to put in a soft lap at all, and he will be eliminated in this session. But at the top of the order, Nathan, Ishmael Fassi, untouchable there.
Yeah, great lap from those. And also, Tom Manley and Alvaro Carreton all separated within 10th, but Alvaro only did one lap, and that was at the start of the session. So he, to me, is looking like, at the moment, the favourite for pole in Q3. But Dylan Warren, I looked on his thing, and he did, I think, on his lap day, I think he did a 32 something. So it doesn't show much progress for him on the softs, but we'll see what happens in the race. Of course, obviously he's done now until the race. We've got one more qualifying session to go, and I think yet again a few unexpected names into Q3 could be posing for another great enter qualifying.
Absolutely, it's going to be a very interesting session. We're missing some of the big names that we normally see in this session. You know, the likes of Jan Ottmer and Nicolas Longuet, both of them being knocked out in Q1. They want to start from the back of the order, and who are we to judge where they want to begin their race? A few other big names eliminated from this session. Brendan Lee got himself disqualified. Spanish Grand Prix race winner Jack West has also been knocked out. Alfie Butcher didn't take any part in Q2, and we know what kind of pace he has, so it should be a very interesting end to this qualifying session. We'll join you on the other side of a quick word from our sponsors at Virage.gg. Welcome back trackside, everyone, once again for the finale of qualifying. It is Q3, missing some of the big names like Jan Ottmer and Nicolas Longuet, and it should make for a very exciting end to the session, but we still have some big names in there. I'm looking at the likes of Alvaro Carreton, like Jake Benham, Freddie Rasmussen, Shanaka Clay, Tom Manley, Nathan, lots of candidates for pole position tonight, and I'm really excited to see who can snatch it.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few people that could be contention, but I think for me, I'm going to say Alvaro Carreton, because he did one lap, and it was less than a tenth off what people did on their second and third laps at the end of Q2. So I think for me, it seems like he's obviously might have put a little bit more practice in than the other drivers, so he's got a bit of an advantage there. As we had a few people heading out on track already. Jake Benham heading out onto circuit. So, obviously, a lot of people... We don't normally see people go out this early doing Q3. Normally, it's a bit of a wait, but no, straight out. At the start of the session, Jed Norgrove also heading out behind Jake Benham. And, yeah, a lot more people come out, about 4 or 5 people heading out of the pits to start their first laps in Q3. Obviously, missing out part of Q1, I think that means people should have 2 new soft tyres at least to use in this session.
Yeah, should be very exciting to watch as we'll get this session underway. 10 minutes to go as most drivers are coming out onto the track. Jake Benham leading the way ahead of, who is that, Tom Manley in behind him? No, it is Jed Norgrove in behind. Jed is a driver that I've been very impressed with in recent weeks, and hopefully he can have a good showing today. Maybe a top 5, I think. Be a very strong showing from him. Tom Manley is in behind, and Nathan, I do say it every time he manages to find himself in the upper echelons of qualifying. Tom Manley is a driver that I'd really like to win here in WOR. I'm remembering back to season 12, I believe it was, where he was getting a lot of podiums. He was always at the front, but he has never been able to win. Sorry, it's season 13, but he's never been able to win here on the PC. Of course, the season 12 Xbox champion. Maybe tonight could be the night, given that some, you know, those heavy superstars like Yano and Nico, I keep mentioning them, now that they're not in this session. Maybe Tom Manley, this could be his chance to break through.
Could be. I think he's definitely one of the underdogs. I think he doesn't get as much notice as he should deserve because he's, especially qualified, a very quick driver. He sometimes just get involved in incidents in races, and that really ruins it. I think it was in Zandvoort he was on for a great result, but then he got involved in an incident with Alfie Butcher, so that dropped him all the way down and out of the race. So I think he's one of those drivers which, if he can get the perfect race, he's definitely got the pace to be leading, or at least be in that top 2 or 3. So hopefully, as you said before, with a few of the faster drivers, or as you would say, the fast drivers being down out of qualifying, he's got a bit of a buffer there. So yeah, I think he's keeps it clean, gets himself into that top 4, top 5. I think he's got a very good chance of taking a podium or victory, hopefully, for him.
Absolutely, but Jake Benham is the first driver that'll get us on a lap. I mentioned Ismail Fassi. It's one of only 2 drivers to win in every season that he's competed in WOR. The other driver that I didn't mention was Jake Benham. However, not capturing a win so far this season. Could this be Jake Benham's day in the sun underneath the lights of the Las Vegas Strip Circuit? We'll have to wait and see as he heads his way in towards now the first sector. A little bit of oversteer in through turn number 2, but foot now completely flat to the floor, heading in towards the Koval lane where he'll get the quickest run in towards this turn number 5 as possible. DRS wide open for him, and at the braking zone is about 250 kilometers per hour, nowhere near the top speeds they're going to be reaching heading down in towards turn number 14 now, coming along to the end of this first sector in towards the more technical part of the track through turns number 6, 7, 8 and 9, the MSG Sphere and the elevated monorail that he is going underneath now in towards the Sands Avenue, I believe this is. It's very difficult, Nathan, to get all of all of the corner names and all the straight names absolutely perfect.
It is. He's coming down now in towards the Fashion Show Mall, which is turn 12. Very horrible left-hander there. Many people getting very close to that wall, and I'm sure we'll see a few people bin it down there. Now, we're on the Las Vegas Strip with Tom Manley. Obviously, very long straight. There's not much to talk about down here because it's a long, long straight. Hitting around 350 to 360 kilometers an hour down here. We'll see what Tom Manley can hit. It'll be about 354. Yep, 356 for Manley before he hits onto the brakes in towards turn 14. And every time you look at them when they slow down into that corner, and it never looks like they're going to make it. But out of the final few corners, Jake Benham, a 30.215. They're the fastest lap we've seen so far through qualifying. Jed Norgrove with a 30.3. What can Tom Manley do? To the line, it'll be 2, 3, 4. Very nice lap there from Tom Manley to be right behind Jake Benham.
Ooh, and there's the quickest time of them all so far. Freddie Rasmussen, a 1:29.858 from him. That is the first sub 1:30 that we have seen in this session. Very nice time to get himself on the board. We'll see if Ismail Fassi, quickest in Q2, is able to get near to that. He'll come across the line with a 1:30.248. Close, but not close enough. Our Caraton will be next up, and I'd say he's a bit disappointed with that lap on the board, a 1:30.338. But it is very close in this session between Jake Benham, Tom Manley, Ismail Fassi, and Ruben Pedreño. However, no one is able to come close to Freddie Rasmussen at the minute. That lap really did come out of nowhere. He was 5th in Q2. He was struggling to get laps really on the board in Q1, and he's come out of nowhere, it seems like, in this session to set that blistering lap time. And now Freddie Rasmussen could be the bet for pole. And Nathan, that leads us perfectly onto the question I want to ask to both you and the live chat. Who is going to be on pole position, and what do you think that time is going to be? Let's know, everyone in the live chat, who you think is going to be snatching pole position. Nathan, the same question goes to you.
Well, I jumped the gun earlier and said Alvaro Carlson, but now I'm going to have my official vote. I'm not going to say Freddie Rasmussen because that lap is 4 tenths quicker than Jake Benham. I think between Q2 and 3, they flew Max Verstappen in and got him into that car, because that is an absolutely gigantic gap in esports, in league racing. 4 tenths of a second. At one point, he was looking nowhere, and now he's currently going to be taking pole by 4 tenths. I don't think anyone can beat that lap time. I think he could retire now and still take pole. So I'm going to say Freddie will take pole this qualifying.
We'll have to wait and see if that comes out at the end. Dylan Warren is agreeing with you there, saying Freddie Rasmussen to take pole position here. We've got Broline Babu saying Jake Benham to take pole. Zani, I don't know how to say that name. A&I says Benham with a 29.7. Interesting. Jake at the minute on a 1:30.215. He's about 4 tenths of what Freddie Rasmussen has done. That'd be a massive improvement on his lap. Matty Dinu is saying Freddie Rasmussen on a 29.6. A further 0.2 of improvement would be incredible to see in this session. We'll have to wait and see if that prediction comes true. Sadly, now that you've gone with Freddie Rasmussen, Nathan, it kind of means I can't pick him, so I'll go the other way. I'll say Jake Benham to take pole position. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit more out there. I'll say Tom Manley. He's not that far off of what Jake has done at the minute, just 15 thousandths basically off of what he's done. So I'm going to go with him to take pole position in this session ahead of both Freddie Rasmussen and Jake Benham, but it's going to be a massive task to get ahead of Freddie with just 3 minutes left to go in this session. Nathan, we're going to be preparing for the final runs of qualifying now.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be, I think the main battle personally will be between P2 down to the bottom. I think people will improve, but I don't know if they'll get ahead of Freddie. I think maybe we'll see some 0.9s or some 30 flats. So I think, yeah, the main battle really is P2 down, because that is it's an amazing lap. You know, obviously, I think it's clear now he's probably has practiced before, because I've never known anyone to come out of not having any practice to then dunk the field by 0.4 of a second. That lap is still astonishing, and he's out on an out lap, so obviously he knows he can improve on that. So maybe we'll see a 0.7 or a 0.6 from Freddie, which would be even better than he's already shown. And well, I was thinking beforehand, this season in WR and in PSL, he hasn't been showing the form that he normally does in esports, but here, well, it seems like this is a track for Freddie, because he's done a great job. I've got a few people out on the track now. 3 Williams cars following each other through into turn 5, so it's going to be quite difficult to figure out who's who. Yeah, it's like seeing all the F2s with all the Red Bull livery cars. No, you don't know who's who and who's for what team, but yeah, they're all in the same livery. There's 3 of them following each other: Declan, Shanika, and Ishmael, I think.
and there's
another one further ahead.
Alvaro somewhere along there. It's Alvaro in the train. Alvaro's at the back of the train. Then we've got Ishmael following behind Declan, and then Shanika is slightly up the road. That is very difficult to get absolutely right, but fair play to those guys. Here's a driver we haven't talked about all too much in this session, Rune Pedreño, of course a championship contender back in season 13, not made such a splash ever since, but see if maybe today in Las Vegas he can dip his toes in the water, maybe kick up a storm today. We'll have to wait and see. He's now got 1 minute left to go in this session. We'll see how this one turns out. A lot of people asking who Ididot is. That is Freddie Rasmussen. And there's very few drivers that have been able to fight their way through the F1 Esports scene all the way since 2017. Of course, Brendan Lee won it all the way back then. Fabrizio Donoso was second, and Freddie Rasmussen was on that grid as well. And it's great to see that he is still taking part in league racing and in the F1 Esports scene today, and still absolutely bossing it. As now we'll turn our attention to qualifying, because Rune Pedreño has just begun his final lap now, opening up the DRS and heading down the Koval lane. He's looked on rails through this first sector so far. We'll bring up telemetry to see his speed. It's going to be 342 kilometers per hour in through turn number 5, and now through Westchester Drive, foot flat to the floor. Going to use all the track available to him through turn number 6, then cut it back over to the left, to the right, sorry, for turn number 7, back on the power, and then slow it down for turn number 8 and 9, as now the clock has struck 0, no new laps can be begun. Here we are coming towards the end of qualifying. Rune Pedreño is sadly slightly down through the first sector, and actually he is quite a long way down in that first sector, and he is going to ride over the curb. That looked like that could have been an invalidation for the Spaniard, but he's been able to get away with that one a bit cheekily. I think we'll come away from him because he's not really improving on his lap, and turn our attention to Jake Benham in behind, who is opening up that DRS and heading down the Las Vegas strip in towards turn number 14, going past some iconic landmarks like Caesar's Palace and the Bellagio Fountain, and in towards the Cosmopolitan building. Jake Benham is up by almost 0.3 of a second. He could potentially be challenging Freddie Rasmussen, as now he comes through in towards the final sector. Purple in sector 2 for the young Englishman, now keeping his foot flat to the floor. Rune Pedreño was able to find a massive improvement in sector 2 and 3 and get himself into P2, but Jake Benham comes to the line, so close but not close enough to getting himself ahead of Freddie Rasmussen, who is improving further on his lap. A few cars just ahead of the fin as now Tom Manley comes to the line. My prediction has not come true, but Nathan, yours could, because here comes Freddie to the line. He loses time in that final sector, but I'm not too sure if anyone in behind him is going to be able to take that time off of him. Alvaro Caraton is invalid. Jed Norgrove is down, and all of them coming up towards the line. No one can contest Freddie Rasmussen's time of a 1 minute 29.858. It was only Jake Benham who was able to get close with a 1 minute 29.88. You can see the times on your screen. Only 3 drivers able to get under the 1 minute 30 time, and these 3 could be the men to beat in this race.
Yeah, Freddie was up as well by just over half a tenth in that middle sector, so he must have made a mistake in the final. But still, that I didn't expect it to be that close at the end. The 3 drivers, Freddie, Jake and Ishmael Fassi, separated by a tenth. Now Ishmael, that is a very good performance from him, and hopefully for him, could be able to get himself onto the podium or even fight for a victory. I don't know if Ishmael's got any podiums this season. I don't believe he has. So, yeah, this is a very good shot for Ishmael to put himself into the top 3. And Declan Barrett yet again in the top 7. So, obviously qualified 5th in Miami, and yet again making an advantage of many of the drivers starting at the back. He's got himself into the top 7, so hopefully he can get himself through the lap 1 carnage. But yeah, we've got a very interesting grid, I think, today. Even more interesting than last week, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very fun race to watch, as now you can see the order on your screen. Freddie Rasmussen on pole, Jake Benham 2nd, 3rd is Fassi, 4th Ruben Jr. Manning at the top 5 is Tom Manley, then Alvaro, Declan, Jed, Shanaka and Philip Prejnader will make up top 10. As I'll bring us back over to the intermission scene, we can talk about that qualifying session. Nathan, of course, we were missing the likes of Jarno, Brendan, Thomas, Nicholas in that session. However, in that Q3 session, Freddie Rasmussen on pole ahead of Jake Benham. Those are 2 drivers you'd expect to be fighting up there. I wonder how it's going to work out for them today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting. I think we're in for a treat with those. And obviously you've got Ishmael and Ruben behind. Ruben hasn't had the best of seasons. He's sometimes been at the top, but other times he's been really down at the back of the grid. So he's having a good job to be in the top 4 in the grid. Ishmael Fassi as well, doing great to be in the top 3. I'm excited to see what he can do from there. And then obviously you got Richard Jacobs starting P11. You got Declan Barrett in 7th. Louis Welch, I think, was somewhere in that mid-pack in the Q2. So obviously a lot of new drivers coming into Tier 1 today, and obviously Declan made his debut last week. So yeah, we've got a whole mix of different drivers. We've got some drivers that debuted this season at the start, some debuting now, and obviously we've got some drivers like Freddie, Jarno, who've been around for a long time. But obviously you've got the likes of Brendan, Thomas, Jarno start at the back. I think it's a very mixed up because you got some of the really quick guys at the back, some of the really quick guys at the front, and then a whole host of different skill levels of drivers in the middle. So yeah, I think it's hard to call who can get what position, but I think it'll come down to the wire with the strategy as well. If we get safety cars or VSCs, that could also change it and help some of the drivers near the back get themselves through to the front. And I think we'll see a couple of drivers do some stupid undercuts and undercut by 6 or 7 laps, be ahead, and then drop all the way through the field. And we might see some people like Jarno do a massive undercut. I think Jarno is known for doing large undercuts, so we'll see if he does that again. But yeah, Dan, I think we've got a very interesting race ahead of us around a very unknown track, so it's kind of hard to talk about what we expect to see on that opening lap.
Jarno loves the overcut. He loves going long into races and then swap into another set of the tyres and whatnot. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what they all decide to do. Starting from the back is going to be a massive challenge to get themselves up the order. All of those drivers starting in that bottom 5 should be really fun to see. Of course, it was a bit hectic last time out in Miami, and Nathan, I expect no different around a newer circuit like Las Vegas. Of course, we've been to Miami before in season 13 as well as season 15, but now Las Vegas, completely new to the F1 23 game, should be very fun to watch. We'll have to wait and see once the race starts who really is the man to beat this session. I'm trying to see if we are getting a new lobby sorted. I believe it's Louis hosting, so yeah, I'll jump in with him and we'll get this race hopefully started very soon. And yeah, coming into this one, Freddie Rasmussen, I gotta say, Nathan, I'm a bit surprised that he was able to take pole by that margin with just 1 lap really in that Q3 session. I mean, Jake and Ishmael got close in the end, but Freddie's lap was done a lot earlier in the session. There was a lot less track evolution at hand there, and I think that he was able to take pole position with that time is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, well, apparently the restart was to change Freddy's name. He still joins back in as Ididot. So that has failed for Freddy, unfortunately. So he might need to leave again to change it, otherwise it might be an issue. Alfie Butcher, I kind of forgot he was racing today. They've been out of the session that long. There's some days you sit there and forget, oh, yeah, they're racing. So yeah, I think we got an interesting race. I think we've said it multiple times, but there's nothing else we can say about it. Apparently, we are on Bahrain, according to what Lewis set up, but obviously he'll change that shortly. I'd rather not go into Bahrain after you just qualify for Las Vegas, otherwise yes, will be a very different showing. We've got 14 drivers in, so nearly everyone getting into the session now. And then we can begin the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which I think, when you think of it from hindsight, F1 having a race along the Las Vegas Strip, it just doesn't seem real, does it? I know it's all about money, but realistically, you wouldn't think it'd happen, would you? Really?
No, it is odd. It is just weird going to all these new places. Like I didn't think we'd be going to Miami or Las Vegas, having 3 United States races. I mean, I know you want to broaden the horizon there, but why not go back to India or something? If you want to increase viewers or something, go to India where there's a billion people that I'm sure could get behind an Indian Grand Prix, and there's a perfectly good track that has had F1
Dan?
history. Hello, what?
Can you restart Steam, please, so Freddie's name changes for you?
Oh,
I'm not going to bother, but just so
boring.
for your sake, yeah. It doesn't matter for
Ah,
me because I'm not streaming, but yeah, it's probably ideal for you.
restart my whole Steam. Ugh.
Steam, yep. So it refreshes his name,
Ah, that's annoying.
and I
I mean,
presume it
I've
might refresh Yanni's as well.
I like having Johnny's. I like having both their names on there. What's it? Yompa and Ididot. I think is a lot more fun to see. As yeah, I'll restart then. I'll play by your rules, whatever. But yeah, I'll load back into F1. We'll get this race started. Have Yanni as Yanni and have Freddy as Freddy. No more Ididot. I am very sorry, everyone who was enjoying that name. I certainly was, Nathan. But you know what? We'll have to move on.
Yeah, well, I still get to keep it because I don't have the look. I don't have the I suppose the luxury of having to stream it. But yeah, we'll be having a bit of a long wait here, so we'll get underway shortly. Dan's just got to sort his game quickly. Going to wait for a couple more drives to get into the lobby, and then we'll be underway. I should have probably jotted down the qualifying results for the whole grid, but I forgot to. I'll remember that for next time because when we have a long wait, it's quite beneficial to have the qualifying grid. I just know that we've got the likes of Jano Otmea, Jack West, Thomas Ronhart, Brendan Lee all starting near the back of the grid. I think Alfie Butcher also retired in the end of Q2, so he'll be 15th. And then we've got the likes of Louis Welch and Rishan in the mid pack. We've got Freddie and Jake at the front. Yeah, we've got lots of drivers everywhere.
I'd be able to remember all the places up until 10th, and then when we get to Q3, I'm not able to remember it. I can do last places. I believe it is Nico, then Thomas, then Brendan, then Yarno, Jack, Alfie, Alfie, Dylan, Rishan, Yoni, Louis, and then I go blank at the top 10. I know, of course, Freddie is on pole, Jake is second, and third is just Malfatti. But then fourth to 10th, I'm not too sure at all. But yeah, as I can see, Dylan was shouting at me in the chat to only restart my game. I've done both just to be safe or whatever. I've not got either of them friended on Steam or anything, so hopefully it does work. But yeah, I'll get back in the lobby and I'll let everyone know if we are gonna have what's it? It's the proper names. There we go, Freddie and Yoni. And yeah, I'm not seeing any silly names. I can see Yoni Tormala, and I can see Frederick Rasmussen. It's not even Freddie, it's Frederick. I mean, you can strip a whole man's identity, and that's quite sad. Born to Ididot, forced to Frederick Rasmussen.
Yeah, he's complete change. Also, make sure you're on commentator.
I just joined. I just joined and I'm getting shouted at.
Yeah, Dylan should become the race director at this point because he can't race very well. So given the Malcolm Massey role, he's going to be last lap too.
Back in the
Well.
day, VRT Warren was unstoppable. On F1 2019, loaded online racing, there was no stopping that man. And I think there's going to be no stopping him today around Las Vegas. So, you know what? I think Dylan, he's going to have a good showing this evening. But yeah, we've got everyone in the lobby. Philip Ruben is readied up. I think Louis getting the grid sorted. And we should hopefully be able to get into this race soon.
Yeah, and, well... I hate this part of the stream because you need to think of things today, but you said everything 3 or 4 times, so it's just trying to repeat everything without repeating it and try not to waffle, but you've got to kind of waffle. Doesn't say it's only at this track. Well, I'll beg to differ that, but we'll leave that aside. In the chat, how many penalties is Dylan going to get today? I will not have a good showing at all. Dan, you've been told.
What have I been told?
He's not going to have a good showing. But then, maybe you'll do the opposite of what I did to Thomas, and you'll commentate, curse him into doing well.
Well, I did that with Jarno. Jarno started all the way down the order, and I predicted him to win. I did that in PSL a few weeks ago. A penalty came came Joost Noordijk's way, but I predicted him to win. So maybe if I predict Dylan Warren to win today, it could come true. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's not going to happen, but I think we'll put up some graphics on your screen, everyone. Maybe you're getting bored of looking at both me and Nathan. You can see the standings on your screen. Jarno Opmeer is your champion. I've just seen the super chat that's come through. Jarno Opmeer is your champion with 219 points as it stands. Lucas Blakely a long way back in second, but there's still a fight between himself and Nicholas Longe. Nico starting all the way down in 20th position. It's going to be difficult for him to get points today, but maybe he was able to jump Lucas Blakely. And thank you to A&I for quoting me there with your very generous £2 super chat.
Yeah, that's going to be quoted. That's going to be remembered for a long time. Born to idiot up, forced to Frederick Rasmussen. See, he didn't even go for Fred or Freddy. It's like, no, have your full name on the stream.
Put a screenshot that one there.
Oh, for me, he's still idiot up for me. So, he's got part of the freedom there. Yoni, for me, was always Johnny. For you, was it Yompa?
Yompa.
Was it Yompa?
Something like that.
It's creative. But I think then again, for English people, Yoni Tillman and Frederick Rasmussen are still quite creative names. We're very boring, aren't we? Dan and Nathan, not very exciting, but you got Isfan, Tomek, Alvaro, Fabrizio, very interesting names.
Yeah, it's fun. And we don't have that, I think, in the UK, but maybe it's the same for other cultures. They think that our names, Nathan, are incredible and they're really cool and exotic. But something tells me that is not the case. I can see people are asking when we are starting. I'll take you off the standings graphic. We are loading into the race. We are about to get ready for this Las Vegas Grand Prix for the first time ever here in WOR here in season 15. It's the penultimate round of this season. Nathan, you've been with me for most of it so far. It's gone too quickly, I think. It's been so fun to commentate this season of WOR, and I'm sad that it's almost over.
Yeah, I think in general, I've done a couple of other team events, and obviously we've done PSG and WR, and it has just flew by. I think the main season of WR, I think we're on about round 9 in Tier 2 already, which has gone really quick. PSG we're at the last round on next week, so everything has just flew by on this part of the game, and maybe for once moaning about everything has made it go quicker, and for many drivers I think they'll be happy about that. I don't think we've suffered what we suffered in 22, but it's still not been an ideal start to the game, and to be fair, apart from the fact the cars are broke, it has got better. There's not been many bugs, has there, really, that have broken lobbies, apart from the qualifying one.
I find it really funny that we've had to use the F1 World cars on 2 separate occasions in WOR this season. Of course, we had the tyre issues at the beginning of the season. We had them in Austria, I believe it was, in their very own cars, and then of course now we've got the F1 World cars back because the cars themselves aren't equal, which is mind-blowing how equal cars can't be equal. I get maybe that it might have slipped through with the tired stuff earlier on in the year, but how can you not make equal cars not equal? It doesn't make any sense to me. But we are using the F1 World cars, which are guaranteed to be equal this evening as we await the beginning of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Nathan, it should be incredibly fun to watch. We've got multiple drivers starting further back behind who should be at the front of the orders. Now we've got 5 red lights beginning this race. Freddie on pole, Jake Benham starting in second as they head down in towards turn number 1. It looks to be a good getaway from Frederick Rasmussen heading in towards the first corner. Ishmael Fassi all the way around the outside now. Jake Benham heading in towards turn number 2 and 3. Ishmael will have that inside line, but Jake Benham uses the momentum of that left hand side to maintain that position as they're swapping places further back down the order. Dylan Warren getting stuck in with Alvaro Carlton getting through on Jed Norgrove. Jed is losing a number of places. Look at them, they're 4 wide. Further back behind, heading in towards this corner. Who is going to come off worse? I'm having a look at Alfie Butcher. They're 3 wide, still off the exit. Ruben Pedreño's found his way into P3, ahead of now Ishmael Fassi. But Nathan, it's a melee down in the first sector.
It is. Everyone's all trying to charge through. Richard Jacobs, unfortunately, has dropped all the way to the back. Dylan Warren has got himself into the top 9, so he's avoided some of the chaos. We come through. They're all 2, 3, 4 wide down in towards, which will be next. Oh, that's someone going on. That's Jack West. He's going completely. No, it's Jed Norgrove. I think he's got a bit of damage. But they're all flying through together in towards turn 12, and they're all making moves where they can. Brendan Lee up the inside of a couple of cars there. That could have ended in contact. Louis Welch looking to get himself ahead of Declan Barrett a bit further up, and Ruben Pedreño on the soft tyres into the top 2. Doing very well so far, but you can see the differentiation in setup. Some drivers are flying past others, even without DRS, down towards this next section. Louis Welch already passed Steckenbauer without DRS, and also looking to put himself ahead of Dylan Warren into turn 14. Louis Welch with 2 overtakes into 1 corner. What a job he's doing. He's doing such a great job. And then we've got Jack West fighting me on what? We've got Richard Jacobs fighting me Philip Preschnader, and then Jed Norgrove still a little bit further back. But Thomas Ronhart hasn't really made much upgrade at all, has he? He's still stuck where he was in 17th.
It's been a very interesting, very chaotic first lap, but it comes to the end with Freddie Rasmussen in the lead, being overtaken now by Ruben Pedreño, starting on a set of the soft compounder tyres. Ruben has been able to make his way to the front of the order from starting all the way down in 4th position, getting himself ahead of now Ishmael Fassi, Jake Benham and Freddie Rasmussen. They're still scrapping further back down the order. Look at the start that Nicholas Longe has had in his beautiful purple, white and black car. He's started it all the way down in P20 in this race. Now he's found his way up into 12th. There's now, how has that happened for Ruben Pedreño? A straight 3-second time penalty. And down at turn number 9, I believe that was, or maybe turn number 8. Ruben, he's not going to get that one moved, surely. I mean, that is clear cut for him, and that is going to be so detrimental to his Grand Prix.
But didn't we know, wasn't there something about RNG possibly? Let's hope that's not the cause, otherwise this could be a very interesting Grand Prix. I'm on board with Thomas Ronhart. He's got a whole train ahead. Just, bit of a clip onto the wall there with a rear tyre. That could have ended in tears. He comes through, tries to get ahead of Jack West. A lot more speed carrying through. Jack, it's like he's running 50-50 wings compared to 0-0 wings. Thomas has flew past Jack West and now up to one of his rivals. You know what, man? Now this could be a very interesting battle.
The new champion of Season 15 against the defending Season 14 champion. We know that both of these two have a bit of an icy relationship on and off the circuit. Now DRS has been enabled. Now the fastest lap comes out for Jake Benham, who's closing to the rear of Freddie Rasmussen, but it is actually Louis Welch, quickest man on circuit, as expected, on his set of the soft compound of tyre. We'll have a look at him there running on that set, closing to the rear of Shanika Clay. He's been able to get up 1 position. Look at the start that Joni Tormala has had, up 6 places from 13th all the way now into 7th position on a set of the hard compound of tyres, no less. He started on the softs last time out in Miami. It didn't work out for him. He's gone the safer option with the hards this time out, and now Nathan, he's reaping the rewards of it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yeah, really well into P7 already, but he did do some practice on the hard, so that could be his advantage. That Q1 preparation has helped him well at the start of this Grand Prix. Lap 3 out of 25, and it seems like those 3 laps have gone very quickly. As we head now back down in towards turn 12, I'm still watching the back because there's a little bit more action going on down there than there is at the front. And we can see Jan Altmaier carrying a lot more speed than Brendan Lee. Dylan Warren gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Lap 3, so that's 1 corner cut a lap. So now watching Jan Altmaier closing on Brendan Lee. Thomas Ronhart closing on to Jan Altmaier. 2 esports world champions. Thomas Ronhart, I'd say at some points have been worthy of that title. Coming down in towards turn 14 out altogether, trying to close in on each other. You can see the cars completely out revving themselves, full revs in towards that turn 14, and like that as well, down towards turn 1, and Brendan Lee there hit the wall at the inside a little bit. It could cause him some damage, but Alvaro carries on further up, looking for a possible overtake there on Tom Manley, closing very quickly into that first corner.
No DRS heading in towards turn number 1, but Alvaro Caraton is definitely going to have a taste of it. Heading in towards turn number 5, down Koval Lane. We'll see if he gets a good exit in comparison to Tom Manley, but it is actually the Red Bull driver, the AlphaTauri representative this evening, blitzing away from the Williams of Alvaro. Further back behind, there's Shanika Clay going up the inside of Joni Tormala, heading in towards turn number 5. That was a late move up the inside for the Englishman, but he's been able to make that one stick. A former Xbox veteran, of course, VSR infamous, now heading over to the PC and being a part of this Williams Esports organization. He's got that move done ahead now of Joni Tormala. Once again, a very experienced driver in his time, as now we'll see if Louis Welch is able to catch up to these two. It's already lap number 4 of this race. It's been incredibly quick thus far. Rune Pedreño still stretching his advantage at the front of the order, ahead of Freddie Rasmussen.
Oh,
Jake Benham seconds on Jano. What may be able to happen to him?
The wall again. Big smack onto the wall there. He's lost lots of time because he's got Thomas Ronald on his rear already, but that was a massive smack to the wall on the right hand side. I think he's avoided damage, as that's Jake Benham ahead of Freddie Rasmussen in towards turn 14. And look at them all, Dan. All flying through. Everyone trying to go too wide. There's moves everywhere. But very nice there from Jake Benham. And we've got Louis Welch ahead of Joni Tormala, who's now started to drop back through the grid. And Louis is doing a great job back into where, obviously, he dropped off a little bit last game. But beforehand, you know, Louis has always been one of those who's been in Tier 1 for a long time. He's back to where he used to be, running in the points here in Tier 1, and I'm sure he's enjoying it.
Good to see that Louis Welch fighting it out here in Tier 1 this evening, as now Freddie Rasmussen, oh, there was someone else further back behind. That might have been Jarno Otmir involved in a fight. I think Jarno's got the same livery as Jake, so it is a little bit confusing, but now Freddie is all over the back of Jake Benham. These two are beginning to catch Rune Pedreño further up ahead. The gap was 2.1 seconds just a lap ago. Now it's 1.8. So they are beginning to reel in the soft runner, and that is maybe some bad signs that these soft tyres really do not last around this Las Vegas strip circuit. As now we're watching Alvaro Caraton still all over the rear of Tom Manley. He's not been able to make a move stick, and down this really long DRS straight that they're about to hit now. In the DRS straight, Nathan, is so difficult to overtake, but surely Freddie's going to have a nose in there, maybe try and swap positions. These two should maybe try and look to slipstream off each other, so they're not sacrificing too much time to Ruben up ahead. We'll have to wait and see, but Freddie's almost completely full in the battery. They're not pushing at the minute to catch up to Ruben. I think Ruben's just beginning to drop off in pace.
Yeah, Ruben surely will start to drop off, I'd say drop off properly within about 2 or 3 laps. Now you can see Freddie Rasmussen to the inside line in towards turn 17, puts himself in turn 14, sorry, puts himself into P2. Now you can see Ishmael Fassi just sitting in right behind Jake Benham there as they head through this little bit of a chicane down towards the final corner, then towards turn 1. That's Brendan Lee a bit further back again, and move up into that chicane ahead of Declan Barrett, who's then under pressure from Jarno Otmir, who's also under pressure from Thomas Ronhard. This could be interesting towards turn 1. We could possibly have a 3-wide battle. Jarno Otmir up the inside of Declan Barrett, Nicholas Longay up the inside of Dylan Warren, and now Thomas Ronhard looking for a move possibly onto Declan Barrett into that first corner, all going through. 2 wide for now. Can we see a move from Thomas Ronhard around the outside at turn 2? He's going to go for it around the outside of Declan Barrett. Very nice move, but they're still going to carry it side by side down towards turn 4, turn 5. But I think it is a move done for Thomas Ronhard, and still him, Jarno Otmir and Brendan Lee trying to move their way up the grid. Oh, that was a close one, wasn't it, with Dylan Warren?
That was just too half-assed from Brendan Lee there. He shouldn't have sent that move when it really wasn't on at all. Now Jarno Otmir all over the back of Brendan Lee and has made that move stick. Two-time F1 Esports champions doing battle here in WOR, and it is the more recent of the pair to get himself ahead. Brendan Lee with really a half-assed move on Dylan Warren there, going up the inside, tagging the back of Dylan. That was a bit of a rookie error and something you really wouldn't expect from the two-time F1 Esports champion of Brendan Lee. And Jarno Otmir, ever the opportunist, was able to make that move stick very easily indeed. Let's have a look at the front of the order, because they have completely pulled in Ruben now, who's really beginning to fall off the pace. There's Freddie getting by. Now Jake trying to follow through on the fin, is now in towards turn number 14. Rune Pedreño in the space of 1 straight. That is the power of the DRS around this circuit, and down that 1.9 kilometer long straight, Ruben has gone from first down into 4th in the span of just 1 corner. Is now Brendan Lee fighting it out with Thomas Ronhard, I believe it is. I think Ronhard might have come off a little bit worse, as now Joni Tormala's through on Louis Welch. Nathan moves once again, being moved and made everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Ruben Pedreño still trying to send it down Ishmael Fassi into turn one. Alvaro Carlton trying to get through as well. And Tom Manley just sitting behind in this battle. This is very interesting. Ruben is now a sitting duck. Alvaro Carlton to the inside there of Pedreño in towards turn 5. Just Ruben trying to push him to the inside line. Can't do anything about that at all because Ruben's just carrying no speed through the corners because his soft tyres are starting to die very quickly. Tom Manley now will be trying to get through Ruben Pedreño shortly. As there's still battles further back, but I want to keep an eye on Tom Manley because you can see you've got a lot more pace now than the likes of Ruben, and we'll also start to see soon probably Louis Welch start to drop back in the grid as well because you can see Nicholas Longuet now within a second of Louis. I believe at one point that gap was clearly, I think it's about 1.3 or 1.4 seconds at one point. Shanaka Clay also in the battle with Tom Manley, trying to get ahead of Ruben Pedreño. We'll see what happens at turn 14. They're coming to turn 12 along the Las Vegas strip, and a better exit there for Tom Manley, but doesn't get much traction out of the corner, but using a bit of battery now as they charge down. DRS will be activated, and do we see a move from Tom Manley? I don't think he will close up to make an overtaking towards turn 40, but we'll see as he's gaining in. But also, Ruben is gaining in on the Carousel. You can hear the car. It can't produce any more speed. It's that fast as Tom Manley up the inside on Pedreño. I don't think Ruben even tried defending that because that was a straight send about 3/10 back. A nice move there from Tom Manley, and also Shanaka Clay also got to get himself ahead of Ruben Pedreño. And now you'll be thinking soon it's time for Ruben to pit. And he can't anyway because Shanaka was up his inside.
Ruben Pedreño really is in a difficult position. There goes Shanaka up the inside now of Tom Manley. A late send there from the Williams driver. Tom is going to be able to try and fight this one back around the outside, but I think Shanaka just about has made that move stick. He almost went off the circuit trying to make that one stick, as now Ishmael Fassi further up the road looking for a move potentially on Jake Burnham. When he got up the inside, like we saw Brendan Lee try to do a few laps ago on Dylan Warren. Doesn't quite work out this time by for Ishmael. He'll hang back, stay in the wheel tracks of Jake Benham and see if he can make a move potentially down that Las Vegas strip and in towards turn number 14, as we'll have a look now further back down the order. Joni Tormada running in 8th position at the minute, pressuring Ruben Pedreño, who has gone from 1st now down into 7th in just 2 laps time. It has really been a tough ride these last few laps for Ruben. It could get even worse now as they get themselves prepared now for the Las Vegas strip. 1.9 kilometers along this straight as we see immense top speeds when they're all slipstreaming and DRSing off of each other. We'll have a look back at Ishmael Fassi, who is all over the rear of Jake Benham, but he will have DRS on Frederick Rasmussen up ahead. Can we potentially see some 3 wide action? Jake is going to look up the inside. Freddie has no defense at all there. What about Ishmael? He's going to hang back for the time being. We've seen a change for the lead now. Further back, Yoni's made that move stick on Ruben, who is now down into 8th position. It's been a difficult race for him.
You know, people are looking to get himself ahead of Nicholas Longuet because they're all being held up a little bit now by Louis Welch. He's going to be under a lot of pressure from Nico. Louis is going to go to the pit lane, so that will give now Alfie Butcher a nice run down to turn 1 to try and get ahead of Nicholas Longuet. If he can, towards that first corner, does he go for a send? No, he sits back for now. Jan Ortmeier also getting close to this, and Thomas Ronhart must have made a bit of a mistake with Brendan Lee because they're now 2 seconds back from the train of Jan Ortmeier and Alfie Butcher ahead, and you can see Alfie keen to get himself ahead of Nicholas Longuet. That gap's over 1.5 seconds to the inside line now for Alfie Butcher to get himself into the top 9. He does so. Jan Ortmeier a little bit too further back at the moment to put himself into a position ahead of Nicholas Longuet, but he is gaining in very, very quickly. A bit further up, we can see Ishmael Fassi getting very close to Frederick Rasmussen, but all these guys in the top 4 and top 5, I think it's quite common to see these guys swishing around a lot because obviously with that DRS, it shows how many positions you can lose. So I think on that final lap, placement will be key.
Jake Benham is now going to be the vulnerable one in this train. A lap ago, it was Freddie Rasmussen feeling the pressure from Jake in behind, but now, of course, going for that move has allowed for Freddie to be able to recharge the battery ever so slightly and also get a nice healthy dosage of DRS to potentially defend from Ishmael Fassi, who I think out of the leading 3 looks to be the quickest driver. And now heading down the Las Vegas strip, no DRS at the moment. There it is now. He's opened it up and now he's looking towards the outside line of the very experienced F1 Esports driver heading in towards turn number 14. There you go. Looks like Ishmael's going to get ever so slightly boxed in by Jake Benham there. And now Freddie goes up the inside, makes the move stick and gets the lead back in this Grand Prix. Further back behind, you can see multiple moves being made. Dylan Warren is up the inside of Thomas Ronhard. Thomas is going to be able to make that move back after Dylan goes very deep there, and actually Declan Barrett has been able to reclaim the place on Dylan, who's now down into 16th because Jack West arrives on the scene and Dylan peels off into the pit lane. Ishmael Fassi now looking to go for the move once again on Jake Benham. Yellow flags as someone's gone off there. That's Dylan Warren. That's someone going slow in the pits. Interesting what's happened there. I think Dylan, yeah, he's still on circuit. He's not coming to the pit lane. He's just completely backed off.
That was weird because it looked like he broke to go into the pit spot. I guess not. So he's going to stay out and continue on, being right at the back of the grid near enough. Ishmael Fassi got very close to Freddie Rasmussen there towards turn 1. This battle's still brewing up, as you can see. They're all within 2 or 3 tenths of a second of each other, and Ruben Progenio still surprisingly holding well. Even though he's got no DRS, he's still holding well onto the back of Joni Sormalat as they head out now of turn 5, I believe it is, turn 9, sorry, down in towards turn 12 we go. It's a bit of a straight, but it's got a couple of bit of kinks to the left and to the right. And we might see, do we see a move from Ishmael? No, we don't. He sits back for now, but it's all about who can get the best run over that bump. And I think that bump is part of the RNG in terms of, first of all, how you can take it, and second of all, a track limit violation can sometimes be given, sometimes not. So some drivers might be a little bit more careful. But now, Ishmael Fassi looking to get 2 of them in towards that in towards turn 14. Ishmael Fassi straight through the pace that they've got. 346 kilometres an hour there for Ishmael Fassi. It's the break zone, and Alvaro Carreton ahead of Freddie Rasmussen there. So that was the key move. A little bit of contact between Freddie and Alvaro as they come through, and also I think it was nearly contact between Ishmael and Jake. But now Freddie Rasmussen demoted down to P4. Maybe he's going to go for a move on Carreton to get himself back into P3 as they head round, and Shanaka Clay looking for a move around the outside, and that's yet again another incident with someone. And now that's Tom Manley looking for a move up the inside. They're going nearly 3-1 to turn 1. That's people being collected, and Tom Manley looking to get through, and at least 2 or 3 of them into P3. Tom Manley made that work perfectly. Ishmael Fassi trying to get back up the inside but can't do so. Shanaka Clay also looking to get a move, but that was amazing stuff. And now Jake's got a 1 second gap. Alvaro into P2, and Tom Manley 6th to 3rd in a few corners. As now that's Freddie Rasmussen round the outside trying to get through on 2 cars into turn 5. Oh, has to back out there, otherwise that would have been contact with Tom Manley and Ishmael Fassi going back around the outside. And Dan, these battles are getting more intense every single lap we go.
Jake Benham has said see ya bye, and he's completely stretched his advantage now almost to a second ahead of Alvaro Carreton. Still they're fighting their way through turn number 9. Freddie Rasmussen has got himself ahead of now of Ishmael Fassi. These guys are fighting for the lead just a lap ago. Now Alvaro Carreton and Tom Manley, they both arrived on the scene. I'd imagine Ishmael Fassi, we know he can be a little bit hot-headed in that seat and in that cockpit, and I think maybe he's not going to be too happy about losing so many positions so quickly. And once again he's on the battery heading down the Las Vegas strip, opening up the DRS, and he'll be all over the rear now of Frederick Rasmussen heading in towards the corner. However, he's off the battery. He knows he can't really close all that much. Heading into the braking zone they go. Will Alvaro Carreton be close enough to go for a move? I don't believe it on Jake Benham, as now Freddie Rasmussen is close to the rear of Tom Manley. Further back behind, Brendan Lee and Thomas Ronhaar still scrapping for P11 at the minute. They've lost, now they're almost 3 seconds off the back of Nicholas Longe, Jan Otmir and Alfie Butcher. That little train, because now, actually Nathan, those 3 have been able to catch up to the leading pack. That it is first down to 10th in a DRS train. Then we got that little trio of cars between Brendan Lee, Thomas Ronhaar and Declan Barrett, and then all stragglers in behind. So as now we got another yellow flag. That's Dylan Warren, I believe, once again having an off down in the final sector.
Yeah, but the thing is, if these guys keep battling here, all P1 down to P10, that's going to bring Brendan Lee, Thomas Ronhaar and Declan Barrett back into it, because they're 2.8 seconds back. But we know sometimes one battle into one corner can lose you a second and a half. But obviously when it's 5 or 6 cars battling, so this could help them. As well as all these cars ahead, P10 up, you like Shanaka all the way to Jake, they're using their tyres more because they're pushing a lot more on their tyres, so they're going to have a lot more degradation on those tyres. Heading back down towards turn 12, we're getting a bit of a spurt of DRS, well, not DRS down here, is it? No, just a spurt of top speed, trying to catch everyone back up, and then we'll break into turn 12. Then you want to hop this curve perfectly to get the best exit to head down towards turn 14. And then this is where we see the cars at their maximum speed. I think earlier I saw Nicholas Longate at 363 kilometres an hour. The car couldn't go any faster, but he's actually bottoming out at that speed as we head down in towards This next corner again at turn 14, you can see Shanaka Clay closing in on Ishmael Fassi. Alvaro Caraton takes the lead away from Tom Manley, from Jake Benham, sorry, towards... Oh! Alvaro's gone straight on!
Alvaro, is he locked up there? Alvaro
Yes, he
Caraton.
has.
Oh, Alvaro's a double lock up from the Spaniard. He goes straight on. Down at turn number 14. He's now sent down the order. He'll be feeling the pressure from Thomas Ronhart in behind, as now more moves being made. Shanaka Clay losing a number of places. He's coming into the pit lane at the front of the order. Jake Benham now feeling the pressure from Tom Manley and Frederick Rasmussen in towards turn number 1. Ishmael Fassi is back around the outside of the Finn. The action once again kicking off down at the front of the order. Ishmael Fassi around the outside is going to be able to hold that move, and now Freddie trying to still stick his nose up the inside. Will he go 2 in 1? He has a half. Look, safety car's been deployed on lap number 13. What has happened? Down at the back of the order, the safety car has come out. I'm not... Dylan Warren... Declan Barrett's... Oh, he has got it from me. I just couldn't see it. Sorry. Oh, yeah, it's Dylan Warren and Jed Norgrove. Have they had contact? We'll see Dylan come into the pit lane with his Braun-esque livery, getting a new front wing. What about Jed Norgrove? I believe that's just a tyre change for him there. He'll be into the pits. Now safety car has been out. This race has been completely neutralised. And now the likes of Shanaka, Thomas, Rishan, Ruben, they all pitted way too early. The safety cars come out. Everyone else benefits.
Yeah, they've... like, obviously, there's nothing they can do about it because they don't know when a safety car's coming, but they've really played that wrong there. Unfortunate for those three. They're all going to drop a few positions. Well, not drop a few positions, but they're not going to gain many. Janaka Clay's down to P15. He'll have to do a lot of work to get himself back up. Obviously, Jake Benham, Tom Manley, and Freddie Rasmussen. I mean, he said he did not then. They're leading the way. P1, 2, and 3. Heading down in towards turn 14 again. And Tom Manley and Freddie go near enough side by side there. Towards that corner, and be careful because they might get affected by a bug there. Somehow it will say they did an illegal overtake, but surely we'll see them come into the pits. And do you know what the issue this brings? The pit boxes.
Oh no, I forgot. I forgot about the pit boxes. You know, now they've not got their teammates. They don't know who they're stacking with. Someone's gonna come off worse here. I'm going to watch Tom Manley. He's guaranteed to get a pit box. Ishmael Fassi following in behind Freddie Rasmussen. Freddie, I think both of them are okay. Jake Benham has come out all right. Tom Manley, I think, might have got held up or something. I don't see anyone being caught out by the double stack at the minute, but I'm not too sure what's gone on. Alvaro Caraton, this has been a lifeline for him. He's now allowed to get caught back in the race as Ruben Pedreño up into third position now. Of course, he pitted earlier on. He's got 3-lap older medium tyres than everyone else, but he has found himself back into the fight.
But to be fair, this has helped Brendan and Ronhard, though, because they've gained back as, Ruben and Freddie training position shit. But yeah, that's helped Brendan and Thomas because, yeah, they've moved themselves back up right behind John Watmere. And I think this is good for main drivers, such as like Rishan and Jack, who were about 6-7 seconds back. They've got a bit more of an advantage, but at least they've caught themselves back up to this grid. And, well, I think it'll all kick off again for another, 11 laps. Probably about 9 laps of racing, depending when the safety car comes in. Dylan Warren onto the hard tyres. So, obviously, he started on the medium, so obviously he has to go to the hards. He won't go to softs by now. So, yeah, he was doing quite well. He moved up to P9 from P13, and, well, now he's in P20 with a penalty. So I think it's gone how Dylan said it would go. So at least he was telling the truth.
Faith. I really did have faith in him this evening. It's a shame that Dylan has come off short, but I will never forget prime Dylan Warren. Even back on F1 2020 when the PSGL scene really, the PC scene really blew up. Dylan Warren was the new kid on the block, and everyone thought he was going to be an F1 Esports star, but it's not looking good for him at the minute. It's a real shame, so I do like the guy a lot, and yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, can get it sorted in the next few weeks, and maybe take part in other leagues and try and see if he can find his feet in terms of form. But Nathan, we are past the halfway point of this Grand Prix, as I'm looking at all of the advertisements on the site. I saw Much Burger. I've never heard of Much Burger before.
Yep, well, it is America, so of course food's going to be mentioned.
Licensing and stuff. It's just funny.
Yeah, probably. I think some of the names aren't, like some of the names on the buildings. I know someone was saying, "Oh, why have they made fake names?" I'm like, do people not realise that, you know, they can't just like take a name of a famous building? They've got to change it unless they pay for the license, which I don't think F1 really would. Well, EA would really bother spending their money on. I don't think it'd be worth it. I think some of them are fine, but obviously some of them have had to change the names of, because of obviously, as we said before, licensing. And yeah, but I think at least we get all the real sponsor boards. That's something nice because it does look like the track. I think the sponsor boards are accurate to where they are in real life, aren't they? I think Rainbow Circuits.
Yeah, and it is right with all of the actual sponsors that F1 does use. You've got Pirelli, you've got Qatar Airways plastered everywhere. I think Emirates is around Silverstone and stuff. You know, that gantry down the Wellington Straight, and there's plenty of stuff here. So yeah, I think it is all correct. And AWS everywhere. You can see I'm riding on board with Room Pedrenia. That right hand side completely plastered with AWS, and now the left hand side, but you can see the sign that says welcome Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't think that exists in real life. And then there's just places that say shopping, Las Vegas hotel, a bunch of different stuff which obviously wouldn't be there in real life, but it is still a very pretty track. They've got all the buildings there, and it does look incredible, especially this shot at the beginning of the strip, Nathan. It is a spectacle to see.
It is, yeah. It's a really good track, and you can see all the like the video boards on the side. It has all the pictures of the drivers, like the F1 intro. I think it does look quite good, to be fair. And well, the safety car, is it in this lap? Because it's got quite a large gap, hasn't it, to Jake? But for me, it didn't come up.
No, it didn't come up for me either. I mean, Jake maybe is just letting the safety car go. Yeah, he's okay. Never mind. Safety car in this lap. Jake Benham just decided to back off. Nathan, this time by, it's 10 to go. We've already done 15 laps of this Grand Prix. Well, we're coming home for the 15 laps done of this Grand Prix. It's gone incredibly quick thus far. Jake Benham will be leading the way ahead of Tom Manley. Room Pedrenia has been thrusted back into the fight, but now with 3 lap older tyres than the rest of the field, he is going to potentially be sinking down the order, maybe acting as a mobile chicane. Jake Benham going to pull the trigger. We are back racing here in Las Vegas, and we'll see who's going to be able to get the jump already. Brendan Lee, he's been caught out by something. He's sent tumbling down the order. He's actually coming into the pit lane. Maybe, I'm not too sure what's going on there with Brendan Lee, but have a look at Shanaka Clay and Alfie Butcher. Nicholas Longue trying to stick his nose in there through turn at number 4. Freddie Rasmussen further up the order, looking for the move on Room Pedrenia. This is what I expected to happen. Ruben going to be swallowed up by the pack, as now Nicholas Longue looking for a move on Shanaka Clay around the outside through turn number 5. Doesn't look like anything is going to give at the minute. They're all squabbling for position, but Jake Benham still leading the way ahead of Tom Manley.
Yeah, great job there from Freddie, just to get himself ahead of Ruben. I think that's the best thing. If you can, get ahead of Ruben as quick as possible, otherwise you're going to start to lose a lot of time to the trying ahead, because you can see there, Freddie's lost about 5-6 tenths to the back of Manley because of that, because of trying to get through on Ruben. Ishmael Fassi, now it's his turn to try and get ahead of Ruben Pedrenia to put himself into the top 4. As we head down to turn 12, can't do so there. You can see further back, a lot of people trying to make moves. Alvaro Cavaton down in P13, as now Ishmael Fassi does pull to the inside now of Ruben Pedrenia. You can see Alfie Butcher also looking to get himself ahead of Ishmael, well, to get himself ahead of Ruben Pedrenia, probably down in towards turn 14, gaining up there, using a bit of overtake is Alfie Butcher. Up to the inside line, you can also see a bit further back as he makes the move. That's also Nicholas Longue looking to claim closer to Shanaka Clay in towards turn 14. And Jono Otmir also right on the back of Nicholas Longue, and a bit of a snap there of oversteer coming out of the chicane, but nothing too harmful for him. And all the train within 2 or 3 tenths of each other. I think this could be quite an interesting finish, because everyone is making moves unintentionally. As that's Nicholas Longue around the outside of Shanaka Clay, nearly into the wall there. That was a very close one into that first corner, but this is all helping the guys such as Jano and Thomas behind getting onto this pack, with Nicholas and Shanaka fighting very, very hard.
A little bit of contact between Nicholas Longue and Shanaka Clay. Shanaka sent wide, and now Jano Otmir pouncing on the opportunity to go for the move up the inside of the Williams driver, who's trying to fight it back with Nicholas Longue. They're going to be 3 wide in towards turn number 5. Jano Otmir up the inside of Nicholas Longue, the 2 championship rivals this season looking to do battle. Yellow flags. Now Dylan Moore is out of this race, and the safety car it's been deployed once again. Dylan Warren out of this race. We've got another safety car.
So he's been to, what's that, turn 5. So he's gone, I know what he's done. He's gone into braking zone, turned, it's locked up, bim.
That's why you need to learn your braking zones around this circuit, Dylan.
Yeah.
Told you time and time again. he doesn't do himself any favours, unfortunately. Dylan, come on, man. Yeah, I'm upset. But safety car back out here. Brendan Lee's going to be brought back into the race. Nathan, we saw him come into the pits at the end of the safety car. I think it's because he's not really racing for anything. He's just trying to gain data, gain knowledge ahead of the F1 Esports series.
Which is great for him to do. Fair play to him for that. But yeah, Dylan Warren being retired, it wasn't to me much of a surprise because I knew that it would probably happen anyway because it is Dylan Warren after all. Very quick, but very inconsistent. Reminds me a little bit like Pastor Maldonado. So, yes. So that's Dylan Warren's race over, and well, we've got one more race after this, so he's got one more chance to try and finish a race. So Dylan, I know you can hear me. Next week, where are we at, Dan?
We're at Japan.
Right, Dylan, get on to Japan there. You need it.
Right, you know what? Everyone giving it the big one in the chat.
Hits!
Yeah, multiple drivers coming into the pit. Maybe for a set of soft. That's a very bold move. Tom Manley, Freddie Rasmussen, multiple drivers coming in. As, someone's been held up there. I think that might have been Ruben Pedreño. Oh, it was. Ruben's been caught behind Freddie. Oh, no. They've had the same pit box there, and I think it's not going to do him too much harm. He'll be able to come out behind Thomas Ronhar, but he has lost that place now because he's pitted behind Freddie Rasmussen. As that is a shame. That's a shame for Ruben. We were expecting it to happen, but okay, sorry. I wanted to say what I was saying before about Dylan. That everyone's giving it in the big and in the chat, saying he's a terrible driver. He shouldn't be racing, but I guarantee he's better than all of us, maybe combined.
Definitely.
And I think he needs a bit more respect than he's getting at the minute. So everyone just calm down with Dylan, and I'm sure he'll get himself together and maybe come back next week better.
Yeah. Jokes aside, he's a great driver, great guy. Obviously, it's all jokes, and I hope everyone else is taking it that way as well. But just looking at the tyres, this could only end in carnage, Dan. Surely. We've got, 11-ish cars, 12 cars on softs, then the rest are on used mediums. And around a track like this, this will be an interesting next 8 laps of racing. And the softs can last until around 6 or 7 laps, so I think we'll have these guys racing till probably the last lap and still being able to keep in the train. So yeah, I think everyone in the chat and I think us, Dan, we're in for a big treat in these next 8 laps.
Yeah, I'm nervous as to how it works out. As now Jed Norgrove and Jack West are swapping places. I don't know what's happening between them, but now Tom Manley is the leading soft runner in this race. He is ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. He came into the pits with running 2nd position, and he'll be all over the rear of Declan Barrett, Shanaka Clay, Jarno Opmeer within seconds of the restart. And these tyres definitely can go to the end from this point. We should be restarting on lap number 20, I should think. At the end of this lap is when we are hopefully going to be able to go, or maybe lap number 19, I think it is actually, yeah, because they've crossed the start-finish line. Wait, never mind, now it's just been adjusted, yeah. Lap number 20 is when we should be able to get going. 6 laps essentially on that set of the soft, because the 1 lap that they've done so far has been under safety car, so they're not really putting any wear onto the tyres. 6 laps definitely should make it to the end, and I think it's going to make a big difference against those mediums.
Yeah, and I think, Dan, we have just learnt, hear both sides of the stories before making assumptions, because it turns out Dylan Warren was taken out. Not purposely, but he got taken out then at turn 5. He got I think he was side by side with someone, and they went into the corner, and I think it was Jack who was with him, and he must have just got pushed into the wall slightly, and it's DNF'd him. So yeah, big shame, but it is what it is. Obviously, to be fair, you can't blame Dylan. It's a brand new circuit. He's had no practice. I think you're gonna obviously miss your braking zone sometimes. Yeah, it is a shame for him, but yeah, I don't think he's too bothered. Luckily. Some drivers will be quite annoyed, but I think Dylan luckily has a bit more of a laid-back view of it. He doesn't get too annoyed when stuff like this happens. So that's, I suppose, a good thing, isn't it, when it comes to bouncing back, because he hasn't constantly got all those poor results and the incidents blown over him like other drivers would have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that Dylan has been taken out there, and I really do hope that stewards can get it sorted. But I think we'll move on, because I believe we are going to have, Nathan, a restart here. Jake Benham leading the way from Ishmael Fassi in 2nd. 3rd is Alfie Butcher, starting down in 15th position. He's really spearheaded the drivers that have moved to the front of the order. Nicholas Longe starting last, now running 4th, and Jan Wortmeer started all the way down in the bottom 5. He is up to 5th, so it's been a good race for those guys. They've definitely been helped by the safety car. They've been brought back into the train. Now the safety car is in this lap. Jake Benham leading the way. You can see there's a poll that has just gone up in the live chat. Who is winning this race? The soft runners or the medium runners? The medium runners being Jake Benham, Ishmael Fassi, Alfie Butcher, Nicholas Honge, Jan Ortmez, Shanaka Clay and Declan Barrett. Then 8th downwards, Tom Manley, Freddie Rasmussen, Thomas Ronhaar. All of those guys on a set of the softs. It should be a Grand Slam finish here at the very first Las Vegas Grand Prix. Jake Benham has pulled the trigger and we are back racing green on lap number 20 of 25. They're all weaving, trying to gain temperature in the tyres. There's a move already. Ishmael Fassi fighting it out with Alfie Butcher heading in towards turn number 1. Alfie will have the inside line for the next right-hander on towards this next straight in towards turn number 5. Jake Benham already stretching his advantage at the front of the order. Ishmael Fassi going to be able to hold off Alfie Butcher. Let's have a look at Tom Manley in behind, who is all over the back of Declan Barrett, looking up the inside now of the Williams livery car. He'll go for that move and he's up already into P7. There's contact further back behind. Louis Welch has had an off, unfortunately.
Yep, and Tom Manley there, still passing as that's also Philip Preschneider out of the session. He's retired on track, but hasn't retired he hasn't binned it as he come through. Freddie Rasmussen trying to get himself ahead of Declan Barrett now, who will be a sitting duck, but also Thomas Ronhaar round the outside of Freddie Rasmussen as they come through. Nearly been a contact between those two as they come up in towards turn 12, and I think it will be Thomas Ronhaar going for a move there.
Oh, Freddie!
Declan Barrett.
Freddie spun.
Oh, Freddie's round.
What's happened there? Frederick Rasmussen's gone around. I think Ruben Pedreño's been involved. I think maybe Ruben tagged the back of Freddie. Both of those guys retiring on circuit, and more drama here in WOR Las Vegas. That is 3 drivers all knocked out of contention in the space of just one lap, as now more moves being made. Oh my god, Nicholas Longe is trying to defend from Tom Manley in towards turn number 14. Tom trying to force this move. Shanaka's gone back through, and now Tom Manley, yeah, he's got to come into the pits with that damage.
Yeah, that was a bit, I think he broke a little bit too late, and that's the issue we have when we're at a new track. People will make misjudgments on these tires. Ishmael Fassi fight for the lead with Jake Benham through towards turn 2. Jake with the inside line pushes Ishmael a bit wide there, so that gives Ishmael the worst line, but he has got that slipstream. Tom Manley's out of the session, he's retired in the pit lane, and then we fly down towards turn 5. Alvin Butcher also gaining on this train now. We could also see a bit further back, that's Thomas Ronhaar looking to get himself ahead of Shanaka Clay. Ishmael Fassi just a little bit too further back to get himself ahead. Shanaka Clay also now fight with Nicholas Longe through in towards turn 5, and that's someone else also having an incident somewhere on track. That is one of the red cars. I don't know who that is, as Thomas Ronhaar is looking for a move on Shanaka Clay through the inside. He's looking like he's got some great pace to try and go for this victory, or at least go for a podium. He's now gaining on Nicholas Longe going through in towards turn 12. I think he's going to get himself ahead of Nicholas if he can, or he's going to wait for DRS and then send it down in towards turn 1, well, turn 14.
Wait and see. There's Thomas Ronhaar riding on board with him, easy as you like. Going to go up the inside and get himself into the top 5 on a set of a soft compound of tyre. Let's have a look at the leaders. Once again, Ishmael Fassi been so aggressive in this race, and we'll see if he's able to go up the inside of Jake Benham. I think maybe he's actually just trying to stay in behind. Indeed he is for the time being. Let Jake Benham lead the race and then pounce in the last few laps. Alfie Butcher and Jan Ortmez happy to comply, but this is allowing for Thomas Ronhaar to close up to the back of them and in towards turn number 1. The gap is now 0.5 of a second. DRS is re-enabled in this race. Ishmael Fassi once again all over the back of Jake Benham. Alfie Butcher in behind as well. And Nathan, now the DRS being re-enabled, everything's about to change.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Ishmael will be looking to get himself back ahead of Jake Benham down in towards turn 5. He's gaining, but I think he might try and stick behind Thomas Ronhaar now, looking for a move on Jan Ortmez into turn 5. Up to the inside now for Ronhaar. Can he get himself ahead as we've got more battle to the lead? In towards turn 5. They're all going 3 wide through for the lead. Ishmael Fassi ahead of Jake Benham. Thomas Ronhaar fighting with Jan Ortmez. Thomas into P4 now, and this is a perfect situation. That's damage for Alfie Butcher. In towards the chicane they go, and Alfie now has got damage, so he's going to be a sitting duck. Might have to go to the pit lane, and Thomas Ronhaar into the top 3, the only one to make these soft tyres work, and he's done such a good job on those soft tyres. Now he's got Jake Benham and Ishmael Fassi ahead. I think it's looking like this could be Thomas Ronhaar's race as long as he stays out of trouble, but Alfie Butcher's going to try and fight back into turn 12. Can't do so, but he has got that damage because we've got more yellow flags. That is Mission Jacobs, I think. No, it's not. I think it's one of the retired cars coming back out onto track.
Yes, Louis Welch's stricken car coming back onto the circuit. Here's Thomas Ronhart following in the wheel tracks of Jake Benham and Ishmael Fassi. Jake is going to go for the move on Ishmael. Ishmael, of course, with no DRS. Easy move for Ronhart. Will he go up the inside of Jake Benham in towards turn number 14? Jake has got that outside line. He breaks a bit later and will be able to stay ahead for the time being. But Thomas Ronhart on the grippier soft compound of tyre. Alfie Butcher still fighting it out on his damaged car. Jan Ortmir as well, your champion for this season, is fighting his way onto the podium up the inside now of Ishmael Fassi. Thomas Ronhart at the front, trying to go around the outside of Jake Benham. Will he hold this move? Can he make it stick? And now is in towards turn number 5 along this DRS straight. Surely this is going to be the best opportunity that Thomas Ronhart has had yet, as now trying to go up the inside. Jake Benham really with no defense here. Thomas Ronhart making this soft tyre gamble work when in Vegas, goes up the inside and he leads the race on lap number 23.
There's a giant send from I think it was Alvaro Carreton, sent a massive send into turn 5 on these Williams compatriots, and there Yoni Tormala into P8 fighting with Shanaka Clay in towards the chicane, and they're pushing each other through there, and I think Yoni might just get the ball. They nearly hit the wall there, Yoni did. That was a bit of contact between him and Alvaro and Shanaka Clay, and now they're going to go side by side through in towards turn 12. Better line there for Yoni Tormala, better pace on those soft tyres to fight against Shanaka Clay, and I think Shanaka might be done for now because everyone behind is on the newest soft tyres. In towards turn 12 we go, and there we are, Yoni Tormala into the top 8, trying to fight away with, shortly it will be Declan Barrett. He's going to be having to look to try and do what Thomas Ronhart did on the opening 2 laps of the restart. Shanaka Clay, they've been overtaken by his teammate Alvaro Carreton there, looking for a move on Yoni Tormala, down in towards turn 14 to put himself into P8, and they will see, can Shanaka Clay try and find back? Yes, he can, as Jake takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, Jake Benham back up the inside, taking the lead ahead of Thomas Ronhart. Jan Ortmir is in the fight, and of course, both Jan Ortmir and Jake Benham teammates this season, driving in that Mercedes. Will they try and make the double team work on Thomas Ronhart? Coming up now to 2 to go in this race. Jake Benham holding the inside ahead of Thomas Ronhart. Jan Ortmir sticking his nose up the inside. 3 WOR champions, past seasons and present, fighting out for the lead at the end of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Thomas Ronhart all over the back of Jake Benham once again, trying to go up the inside in towards turn number 5. He'll have the line, he'll have the later braking. Can he try and stick this move? Indeed he will. Jake Benham still hanging around the outside. He'll have the inside now for the next left-hander down Westchester Drive, but I think Ronhart on the soft tyres will be able to hold him around the outside. He runs deep into the corner. Jake Benham is going to try and stick it around the outside. He slides his way in through turn number 9 and on towards this avenue. Who is going to come out on top? I think Thomas Ronhart trying to hold it from Jan Ortmir. Jake Benham still sticking his way in there. Oh my word, look at them pushing their way in through here. It's looking like a NASCAR race down at the strip circuit. Someone's gone round. Nicholas Longate's turn. Ronhart's around as well. Oh my gosh, massive damage. Both Thomas Ronhart and Ishmael Fassi out of this race. Yellow flagged all the way around. Jake Benham leading this race. Jan Ortmir in a second. Is there any damage to the Dutchman? I'm not too sure. Nicholas Longate, what has happened here? Ishmael Fassi and Thomas Ronhart both eliminated.
Well, I don't know what to say about that one, but now Alfie Butcher with wing damage looking to try and take the lead. Nicholas Longate is absolutely sending it all. He makes contact with Alfie Butcher. Declan Barrett in a perfect position here on his second race here in Tier 2. Tier 1, we got Alvaro Carreton fighting with Yoni Tormala down to Turn 1 as well, but that big mistake there from Nicholas kind of caused that whole kerfuffle down at turn 14. Whoa. As now we can see Alfie just sitting in behind that of Nicholas Longate as they go through. But looking to be a Mercedes 1-2 for Yano and Jake at this point in time, because Nicholas has not really got much fight back. Declan Barrett there hitting the back of Alfie Butcher, but Alfie's got damage, remember, that's why he's a little bit slower in the corners, and they're going side by side down in towards turn 5, and Alfie's got a lot lower wings, so Declan can't really compete. There is about 30 kilometres difference between those two going into turn 5 there, and you can just see, even though Alfie's got damage on the straights, he can just pull away, and that's the key there, and that's what's helping Alfie keep this P4 position. But surely that will be a penalty for Nicholas Longate post-race, because that was an absolutely terrorist move there from Nicholas. And also, that was also nearly a terrorist move from Declan Barrett, trying to get himself ahead of Alfie Butcher, trying to do everything he can. But this battle could be interesting between the two Mercedes. And do you think Jake will let Yano have it, or do you think they'll battle to the line, Dan?
I'm not too sure. Jan Ortmir leading the way. Look at the positions gained for him. 19 in this race, starting from the very back of the order. Jake Benham starting in P2. The two Mercedes drivers, will they look to do battle heading in towards the final few corners of this race? Jake Benham certainly wants to challenge his teammate in towards turn number 14 for the final time. Benham is up the inside of Jan Ortmir. Into the braking zone they go. Jake Benham takes the lead from Jan Ortmir in towards the final few corners. It's the last sector. This could go right towards the line because here comes Jan Ortmir on the battery. They're going to run wheel to wheel. It's going to be a photo finish. Never mind. It's Jan Ortmir taking the win here in Las Vegas. Jake Benham will come home P2. Nicholas Longe in third. Alfie Butcher fourth with that wing damage. But Jan Ortmir last to first in WORPC Tier 1. This man is on top of the world. Your season 15 champion. He's not done there. He's adding to his repertoire. He's increasing his margins. And this man, he is ready for F1 Esports to begin.
Well, we expected chaos. We expected battling, and we got all of that. That was, well, there'll be a lot of controversy. We'll just put it that way. And I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be a few inappropriate words being used between other drivers. And yes, the stewards will be very, very, very busy. But Jan Ortmir, great job to take the victory. I think, obviously, you know, you got Nicholas Longe, 18th to 3rd. Alfie Butcher, 15th to 4th. They all did good jobs. And obviously, you also got the likes of Yanni Tourmala and Richard Jacobs making it into the top 10 as well. And Yanni Tourmala took the fastest lap with a 32.9. But big shame there for Thomas Ronhart. I might actually go back at the after the stream and see if it was due to contact down at turn 12 with Nicholas, or if Ronhart spun it on his own. Because I couldn't see properly because it was all there. You couldn't really tell what happened.
I just know that Thomas spun and something happened. Thomas was around down at turn number 9, and then I think Ishmael might have hit him, and both of them retired from this race. Look at the mess that we are seeing on our screens. Jan Ortmir last to first. Jake Benham started second, finishes there. Nicholas Longe started 18th, ends up on the podium. Alfie Butcher coped with wing damage to come home in P4 from 15th on the grid. What are we witnessing? And look at how many DNFs there were in this Grand Prix. We're counting Thomas Ronhart and Ishmael Fassi. It says +2 because they completed more than 90%. Real shame for both of them to be eliminated from this one. But Jan Ortmir, Nathan, once again, the Dutchman proves he is the very best. And this, come on, like, he is ridiculous. He is in PC Tier 1, the very highest of league racing caliber grids. He's doing a last to first in it. Are you mad? Are you mental? He's done it twice now. He started. Oh, well, did he do it? Did he do it twice? I thought he started well last time out.
Didn't he?
I don't
last
remember.
time in Miami.
I thought he started.
I'm sure he started like 15th or something. But I did have a little bit of a debunk on that incident down towards turn 12. So there was 5 of them coming together. Ishmael Fassi was on the outside line. Nicholas Longe, because obviously I think they all broke quite late into the corner. Nicholas Longe broke a lot later than the others. Ishmael Fassi then got cut off by Nico. Nico then got hit by Ishmael because Ishmael was already, you know, within the car lengths of Jarno. So then Nicholas spun the rear, hit Jarno. Jarno then hit Thomas. Thomas went round. Then I think it was Ishmael Fassi who then come back across, went into Ronhart, and then obviously Jake and Jarno come through. Jarno nearly hit the wall on the exit. So it was... yeah, everything in one.
Real shame.
The stewards will have a long night trying to review that incident because there's so many things that people could have done differently. But I think, personally, I think it was down to Nico. Just breaking a little bit too late. But then again, it is the type of things that happen on a brand new track. You will end up sometimes getting a bit over-ambitious on the brakes.
It's a shame that it's got to come to that, unfortunately. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometime. And you got to gamble when you're in Las Vegas. There's no other better place to do it, really. And unfortunately, some guys and they just didn't come up good. But you know, Jarno, he put his chips in the right place and he won today. I mean, what a result from Jarno Ortmir. I'm gonna preemptively bring us over to the interview screen so I can have a check in the waiting room and see who we've got in there. We do have Jarno Ortmir, and we can drag our race winner into the commentary box. Jarno Ortmir, our race winner today. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Wonderful. It's great to have you back once again. Hot off your championship win. Did that give you confidence coming into this evening?
Yeah, I mean, Las Vegas, of course, are new for everyone, so it's always a bit, waiting to see how how everything is gonna go. Decided to do a last to first challenge, or attempt one at least. Going into it to have a bit more fun. If there's a track where you want to do last to first challenge, it's probably this one. But yeah, it was quite fun. A decent confidence, to be
Buonasera.
honest. So.
And coming into this one, I mean, Jarno, you do a last to first challenge in PC Tier 1. What makes you think you can do that, and how does it work?
To be fair, I think if there's a game where you can do it, it's definitely this one. I think we see now multiple races where it's possible to go from very far back to the front if you make the right moves, stay out of trouble, which is the hard part, of course. So yeah, I'm not really the first one to do it on this game. To be honest, we saw Jake in PSGL Zandvoort do it. I think Thomas and Jeddah PSGL. And there are probably more drives that went from the back of the grid to like podium. So yeah, it's just a great game to race on, to be honest. It is a bit chaotic, as it's I think a bit harder doing the races compared to older games, but yeah, it was good fun.
Now, of course, with the last to first challenge ticked off, F1 Esports on the horizon. You're the season 15 champion, of course, and you're winning races like it's nothing. How are the confidence levels at the minute?
Very good, of course. I think I'm definitely not the fastest driver at the moment. Never have been, probably. So yeah, we will see, of course, when F1 Esports comes. It's going to be a completely different dynamic, and we will see who's fastest there. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us once again in the interview room. That's all from me. Nathan, anything from you?
No, nothing from me. Just yeah, well done on another last to first victory. Well done.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jarno, for joining us, and that can bring us to the end of his portion of the interview. We've got Nicholas Longe in the box. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, guys.
Hello, Nathan. Take it away.
Nico, so great race, first of all, up into P3. What happened at turn 12?
Honestly, I wish I had an answer for you. Generally, well, in the moment, it was so hard to tell what was going on. I have to look at the clip again or some POVs. But I think I did go, like, I was coming with a bit of overspeed, and but I don't think I braked like late where I was gonna miss the corner. I think we were all just so bunched up that I then nudged Jarno, which then Jarno nudged Jake, which then nudged Thomas, and then I don't know what happened. But yeah, we will see the POVs. But if I made a mistake, I will take full responsibility. But yeah, and otherwise the race was chaotic to say the least.
Well, it was a brand new track, obviously on the calendar IRL and on esports. Do you think it was a good track? Do you enjoy it, or do you think the doubts
Those
what
were
people
my
had made
first
it
laps.
right?
I started the race. I started the race. I had no idea where I was going. So yeah, I did not know that I was gonna race tonight until like very late, and but I mean, from what I've seen in this race, definitely it's probably the best track as a spectator, but probably the most frustrating as a driver, because I don't know what's the strategy to win in this race at this point. I mean, if we didn't have those collisions in lap 24, what would have happened in the last lap? We would have been like 5 wide in the back straight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that's going to pan out. But we will have to wait and see. And also, we can't really practice this kind of scenarios with the team, because you need like a train of 10, 15 cars to even test this sort of thing. Oh, sorry. And when you're just like 2 or 3 cars, I mean, you can't predict this. So this was definitely a good experience, but yeah, that's all it was, to be honest.
Yeah, and next week I believe we're off to Japan. What are your thoughts about that circuit?
Japan's nice. I think it's a very fun track to drive. Not as chaotic, but still a good back straight with a lot of slipstream where you can make moves done, even in the train. So I'm looking forward to that one, to be honest. It's one of my favorite tracks this year. So yeah.
Yeah, well done on the podium. That's all from me. Anything from you, Dan?
No questions from me, Nico. But
Oh
really
wait!
Oh,
I'm not there next week.
Oh.
Yeah, so unfortunately I won't be here. So never mind. I'm not gonna take part. So I guess good luck to everyone that does. But anyway, thank you.
That's a real shame that we're not going to get to see you in the last race of the season when you've been such a strong contender throughout the entire season. But there's no questions from me, Nico. Really well done, regardless of all the incidences and stuff. You know, you drove your race really well, and you got rewarded for it, a P3 in the end. So we'll let you get away and enjoy that podium and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much. Same for you guys. Good evening.
Bye.
Thank
Ciao.
you. Thank you very much, Nico. We had a nice buonasera as he joined the Discord call. But that brings us to the end, Nathan, of the interview portion. That means I can bring us back over to the scene, and we could talk about that race. It was definitely a chaotic one. Didn't expect to see Jan Otmir taking victory in it. It wasn't like in Miami when he was making a bunch of overtakes. He was sort of just following in the pack, and everything kind of just unfolded in front of him.
Jake's there.
Oh, Jake, he joined too late, Jake. Right, okay, I'll bring us back over. He was way too late. He wasn't there when I saw.
He wasn't though. He literally just joined.
He's just joined. Okay, we'll have an interview with Jake. Hello, Jake. Can you hear us?
What up?
Hello.
Yes.
Right. Coming into this race. First of all, really well done on your podium, but coming into this race, you were one of only few drivers that wanted to properly qualify. Everyone was starting at the back. You decided to go from the front. What guided your choice there?
Well, I was debating starting at the back as well, to be honest. But in the end, I just thought I might as well get some more quali practice in. So yeah, quali pretty good. Second. But yeah, I don't really think in these races starting first or last is any different, to be honest.
No.
Especially with two safety cars, you can start P34 and you'll still probably end up in the top 5.
I think I and Nathan probably could have won that race. If we hopped in at any point, we could have taken victory. But yeah, I mean, coming into this one, of course, it's a new track, new game. And we saw sort of the issues with that being the case in the last few laps when it was a bit of a domino effect we saw at the front of the order. I think Nico went into Jarno, then Jarno went into Thomas, and you just about avoided the issues. From your point of view, what happened down there?
Well, I don't know. Because obviously me and Thomas were at the front of it, and we couldn't see what was going on behind. I knew someone was going to get tagged, though, with what was going on, because obviously you can't really see it on the broadcast, but into the complex before where Thomas spun, me and Thomas were going about half racing speed, just trying to get DRS off each other, because whoever had DRS, obviously, I mean, was going to be P10 by the end of the straight. So yeah, it was a tactical last few laps, but ultimately it's going to get messy when everyone's driving half speed to get DRS.
And now with the 1-2 finish between yourself and Jarno Otmir, teammates at Mercedes, does that do anything for building synergy ahead of the F1 Esports series?
I mean, every single race that you're racing with teammates and just helping each other and just learning where each other are can also help. Ultimately, we're racing against each other on the last few laps, but or last lap, I should say. But yeah, I think having Thomas there kind of screwed me a little bit because obviously I had to use the RS because he's on a lot quicker tyres. So I decided to, I could either secure P2 or go for the win. So I went for the win, meaning I started the last lap with a little bit less ERS because of Thomas. But yeah, I gave it a good go. GG Tiano, obviously. Management is ridiculous, but yeah, again, GG to everyone. Very fun race.
Yeah, really well done. That's all from me, Nathan. Anything you want to say to Jake?
No questions, but yeah, well done. Yeah, again, another great podium. I'll see you back up there again.
Thank you. Good comms. GG.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't listen. I'm about to go listen, but you can imagine it's good.
We were bumbling all over the place in the last few laps, I'll tell you that.
So will we. But yeah. Thanks again.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you to Jake Benham, and we had all three of our podium in the interview room. It's always lovely to see when we get everyone. We get to talk to everyone at the end of at the end of a very intense race. And it was very fun. But Nathan, coming to the end of that one, Japan is next. The final race of the season, season 15. It's gone way too quickly.
Yeah, it's gone really quick. I've obviously been here for a few races here and there, but yeah, it has gone really quick. Round 1, where was we now? Because I think the first race I did was round 4 at Brazil, which is when Lucas won. And then I did a couple throughout. And where was we at round 1? Was it Belgium?
Round number 1 was Bahrain.
Oh, I know it was Belgium for tier 2, but yeah, Bahrain. Yeah, I came in at round 4, and to be fair, through the races we've done, it's been really a really entertaining championship all the way even to the end. Even though we knew at one point Jana was going to win it because obviously Lucas and Nico missed out a couple of races, it was still entertaining because every single race had its own elements. And I think, despite a couple, which was took a bit too far, I think we had a really great season. Obviously, we've got one more race, but I feel like it's kind of the end now, isn't it? We're coming to the closing stages, which is a shame.
I hope we have good attendance next week. It's sad that Nico's not going to be here, and I do hope we get to see all of our F1 Esports drivers back for the final race of the season, the last hurrah of season 15, because this has been the biggest season yet. We've reached heights that we've never reached before. Thank you once again to ANI for the £5 super chat. I've just seen that now for Live, Laugh, Ididot. Justice for Ididot. Very sad that there's no more Ididot, but maybe I'll ask him if he turns up for the last race. I'll ask him to change his name, and then I'll just forget to restart F1 23, and then we'll have Ididot in our sights. But Nathan, I think that is all.
Yeah, it is. Nothing left from me, but apart from just thank you everyone in the chat. Obviously, very active chat as always. Obviously, a lot of support for a lot of drivers, which is it's what we like to see. It's what we're all here for. So yeah, we've got one more next week. I believe Ryan will be back next week. So this is probably my final farewell for this season. So yeah, it's been a really enjoyable season. So thanks, Dan, for being with me throughout some of the races, and also Chris. And I think I've been did one race with Ryan as well earlier on. So it's been great.
And next race will be the last race of the season. I've been here majority of the time. I've only done it with yourself and Ryan, but it's been incredibly fun to watch, and I've loved the interaction with everyone in the live chat as well. It is just great to be a part of World Online Racing, and to be here from season 12 commentating with Ginger Andy, then Luke Etheridge, and now Ryan and yourself, Nathan. The growth has just been immense, and I've loved every step of the way. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I say this every week, but none of this would have been possible without any of you. So thank you so much for tuning in to WOR. We have one last hurrah next time out in Japan, and I hope to see every one of you active chatters there next week. If you want to subscribe to the WOR YouTube channel, please consider doing so. The growth once again has been immense throughout this season. I don't even know if we were above 10,000 at the start of the season, and now look at us past 17,000 subscribers here in WOR. If you want to follow us on social media as well, it is at WOR League on Twitter, and if you want to keep up to date with all your WOR news, you can join the Discord. The link will be in the description. If you want to follow myself on Twitter, it is at DanFieldF1_, and then if you want to follow Nathan, it is RichieF1 with the I's replaced by a 1. Thank you everyone once again so much for tuning in this evening. We'll see you next time for the final race of the season in Japan. But for now, thank you and good night.
Good night.